Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. 19 PIW. Chapter 451. Marine's Conspiracy. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Kaido and the others don't know what's going on right now, and they don't know when Lu Chi, who belongs to World Government Celestial Dragons, will come to rescue them. All they can do is wait here quietly. I don't know if Marine or World Government people will come to rescue us. Will they release us smoothly? The ant was a little worried. The Whitebeard pirates are now fighting against Marine. In this city of flowers, it is estimated that there are only those who are the 9 Knights of the Red Sheath and those garbage warriors. It is not to be afraid at all. Kaido comforted himself. But Boss Kaido, I have a question. Jack asked cautiously. What question? That's right, the person just said that the Whitebeard pirates was repelled by Marine. If this is the case, Whitebeard could not stay here just now. He can't let his Whitebeard pirates ignore it, so is there. Maybe Marine route. Ben did not dispatch the main force. Quote, Marine may want to release us first, use our last little value to deal with Whitebeard, and finally they Marine will be the last to dispatch. Jack said. In that case, we don't have the opportunity to join forces with Marine at all. It's just to make a wedding dress for Marine. Quinn said in a cold sweat, scared. Don't scare yourself. I feel that Whitebeard is impatient just now. It's like his Whitebeard pirate group is in crisis, and we must observe the situation first after we are released. If it is true, Marine just wants to use us to be the vanguard, then we will naturally not be able to contribute. Kaido said. Hey, I didn't expect us as the 4 emperors, the pirates are also the dignity in the world. It is really shameful to join with Marine now. The ant sighed, thinking how prestigious she was on her cake island. Ah, but my own children. Advertisement. We are all back Whitebeard. Targeted by everyone. So after Celestial Dragons was beaten by Luffy, Kizaru was the only one willing to send troops. They Marine suppressed the pirates for justice, not for a noble. Marshal Akainu. I am Lu Chi, the captain of World Government CP0. I have contacted Kaido and others. They are all willing to cooperate with Marine to deal with Whitebeard, but you need to send some people to release them first. Lu Chi said. It really is Kaido's voice. After listening, Akainu also confirmed that this guy was not asking for him. Of course, let me beat all those Marines away. Luffy was excited. Everyone, although Marine is dealing with Whitebeard this time, we will definitely be taken care of by them, so it is better to take the initiative to fight Marine with the Whitebeard pirates and kill Marine's prestige. Arp said. As the captain of World Government CP0, Lu Chi came to Wano-Kuni because of a request from Celestial Dragons. Therefore, until the end of the Whitebeard and Kaido War, Lu Chi did not find a chance, but because he was inside the world government, he knew in advance that Marine would be dispatched. Before the war began, Lu Chi tried to contact Kaido, but was rejected. At that time, Kaido felt that Lu Chi's request was too much, and asked Jack to be the Mount of Celestial Dragons. You must know that Jack is the weakest in the 3 plagues. But also, if it weren't for the identity of the other party belonging to Celestial Dragons, Akainu wouldn't even say so much, because he had no affection for those people at all, and even Celestial Dragons would not be regarded by Akainu. What's to be afraid of? Luo, Bej, Kid, these people are all on Whitebeard's boat. Bonnie said. Advertisement. If they want to deal with Whitebeard, that would be a good thing, but Lu Chi, you are here in Wano-Kuni, as the captain of World Government CP0, can you not release Kaido and the others with your strength? I still need me. Send someone. Right. Quote. Akainu thought twice and decided to believe him. After all, in order to deal with Whitebeard, all risks are worth taking. Akainu asked curiously. Oh, yes, how did I hear that these people have returned to Whitebeard? Are you kidding me? Do you want them to fight against us with Whitebeard? Even the world government, but the action against the pirates is by my sea. On the other side, Luffy and others originally came to watch the battle between Whitebeard and Kaido, but now the emergence of Marine has also forced them to unite and resist Marine together. Because Obedient is deeply trusted by Kaido. Mr. Akainu, I didn't make trouble. I can show you the recording just now. With that, Lu Chi released the conversation with Kaido just now. So of course, Kaido refused without even thinking about it, and even scolded the other person. Now, under the eaves, Kaido has been able to abandon Jack for himself. 0.0. 0 Look for flowers. I saw Hawkins closing his eyes, then holding a card and drawing one from it. She. Advertisement. The celestial dragon said at the time. I heard that Whitebeard declared war on Kaido. Kaido has a guy named Jack who can become a huge elephant. Luki, take that guy back to me as a mount. Yeah, I give you to do it. This is naturally because we don't have enough manpower. Now Wano-kuni is Whitebeard's chassis. His power is everywhere. Our power is too weak. Lu Chi said. On their side. Therefore, Lu Chi came here for this request. However, the Whitebeard and Kaido war was definitely very dangerous. It would be very difficult to take Jack out of the chaos, almost impossible, and once exposed identity, that will also become. Crocodile is a representative of land warfare. He naturally does not want to fight Marine at sea. It is extremely disadvantageous. Moreover, Crocodile and Luffy and others rounds on the way. Now they are on the same plane with the Whitebeard pirates. And Crocodile also noticed Marine's attack at the first time, but he found that Marine was well equipped, so he immediately retreated. Hawkins, do you think Whitebeard can beat Marine this time? I think these Marines are not good. Urouge asked. After finishing the call, Lu Chi breathed a sigh of relief. He had already completed half of this task, and there shouldn't be so much trouble going on. Well then, tell me the specific location, and I will send someone there later. On the other hand, Lu Chi immediately contacted Marine Marshal Akainu after finishing the call. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The military marshal is responsible for it alone, and I hope you will not make trouble. Akainu didn't have a good face at all. Advertisement. Chapter 452. Attacking Marine. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hawkins turned the card over. His gaze was fixed, and he did not speak for a long time, which made the people around him anxious to death. Oh, Hawkins, what's the situation? Urouge asked. Yeah, why don't you speak? Is Whitebeard's chances of winning so low? Arp also asked. Damn it, I'm going to punch you if I don't speak anymore. Crocodile clenched his fist and spoke. I saw Hawkins slowly saying. This card is a backstab card. Backstab. Everyone expressed their doubts in unison, because they didn't understand what it meant. Hawkins explained. Backstab means betrayal. Whitebeard will be betrayed. What? Crocodile was taken aback. He immediately remembered that at the time of the war, Whitebeard was also attacked by his son during the 040 time. Although Whitebeard's strength is far better than that at the time, Hawkins' ability to predict is generally quite accurate, which shows that Whitebeard will really be betrayed by his subordinates. Who would betray Whitebeard? Will he be harmed by Whitebeard? At this moment, Crocodile couldn't help but worry about Whitebeard. Advertisement. Now is the time to deal with Marine. If you are seriously injured by a sneak attack by your subordinates, then the situation will be very serious. It is not good that the Whitebeard pirates will really be destroyed by Marine in this operation. What we can do is to help the Whitebeard pirates on the frontal battlefield fight against Marine. At least some of the forces can be contained. Isn't the Marines' high-end combat power regardless of the frontal battlefield situation at all, they all go to besiege Whitebeard. As a result, a big battle was about to unfold, and the Marines began to advance slowly, and their muskets were already ready to go. Pooh said. In the past 2 or 3 years, Whitebeard has newly recruited people like this. Aokiji, Enel, Arogo, Tesla, Jinbei, Wentai, San Juan, Wable, etc. Aokiji joined the Whitebeard pirates as Marine. He has this motive, and he is honest. Hawkins shook his head and said, there is no way to determine this kind of big event, but I can reoccupy it again. In short, the people who besieged Whitebeard are all first-class powerhouses in the world, and there are a lot of them. Our strength does not help at all. Hawkins said to Crocodile, dispelling his desire to help. Dasha means that Whitebeard will be in unexpected danger. He will be besieged by many powerful men and be in danger. Hawkins explained with a trembling. Only oneself is behind. This is how everyone talked about you. And after discussing for a long time, they didn't know what the final result would be, but they were basically certain that the severity of this war might be more dangerous than Whitebeard. With Kaido. Of the first battle, well, Wentai also joined the Whitebeard pirates as a marine, and after eating dark fruit, the dark power may really be able to successfully attack Whitebeard. Urouge nodded. Advertisement. In terms of Kashang, he may be the most likely to hurt Whitebeard. Quote. At this time, Akainu has been discussing the 5.1 plan. He has agreed to Lu Chi's plan and received the coordinates from Lu Chi. The rest is to send someone to release Kaido and others. Crocodile already knew the main members of the Whitebeard pirates, and he immediately analyzed them one by one. With Whitebeard's strength, I think maybe only some special fruits can hurt him. That Wentai is the most likely. Bonnie also participated in this analysis. Hearing this explanation, Crocodile and others were shocked. It was absolutely dangerous, and it was connected to the previous backstab. Because of the backstab, they were besieged. However, for these people's discussions and worries, Whitebeard doesn't know at all at this moment. Don't make trouble, even Whitebeard is surrounded by strong people. What can we people do? The key is that I don't believe who can organize so many strong people now, how many powerful people in the marine government character. Urouge immediately showed. The candidate Akainu was quickly determined. Of course, Kizaru was dispatched. The speed of light operation is not a joke. Even if the action is exposed, it can be escaped. The three admiral of the marine government are definitely the highest combat power in the marine government, but the three of them shouldn't be too dangerous. Whitebeard can suppress Zero even Kaido's lineup. Apu said. Show doubts. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. As the Marine Marshal, Akainu never issued an order after he ordered Marine to rest on the shore. This inevitably caused some lower-level officers to make comments, because this would give the pirates more preparation. Advertisement. Just listen to Hawkins slowly saying, "This time it's Dasha." After repeated deliberation, Akainu finally determined. He immediately ordered Marine to attack the Whitebeard pirates. Even during the rest period, Marine sent people to monitor the Whitebeard pirates' actions and clearly knew where they were stationed. It can't be Wentai. I have seen him. He is a good guy, and he is trusted by Whitebeard. There is no reason to betray Whitebeard. Luffy also said. It's just that after saving people, a big battle must be launched to attract Whitebeard's attention, otherwise there will be no chance at all. Oh, what is Dasha? What does it mean? You can say it clearly once, but we are so anxious to death. Apu urged. This information made Crocodile and others worried about Whitebeard. He said to himself, if this is the case, I should find Whitebeard and fight with him. Jinbei can be ruled out. His character is absolutely guaranteed. Even if he betrays Whitebeard, he will only explain it face to face. Apu said. There are also some mysterious characters in Marine. For example, there is an old Vice Admiral wife. She seems to have a high status, but she is the same as Garp, just Vice Admiral. Bonnie said. Afterwards, Hawkins drew another card. This time, he looked shocked and surprised again when he saw it. However, after analysis, they couldn't be sure at all. Crocodile said to Hawkins, can't you tell the probability? What is the probability of Whitebeard failure? If you want to betray Whitebeard, it should be some people who have joined Whitebeard recently, and they are not weak. Arp analyzed. Crocodile and others all leaned in immediately, gathered around Hawkins and asked, what is the card this time? Advertisement. Chapter 453. The New Pacifist. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Marine troops marched all the way from the shore, like a patch of white marching ants, which made people feel the majestic and mighty Marine. However, when Marine's vanguard marched to a certain position, many residents suddenly rushed out of the surrounding area. They released rolling logs and rocks from the heights and launched an attack on Marine. Moreover, there are many traps on the ground. Although it is not the kind of large-scale trap, there are often individual soldiers who are caught in the trap and injured. This is because the residents intend to prevent Marine from advancing, and these residents have shown a very determined attitude. You damn Marine, Whitebeard saved us Wano-kuni, but now you take this opportunity to attack them, it's really irritating. A resident who took the lead shouted to Marine. Marine is just a running dog of the nobles, and it's ridiculous to talk about justice. More and more residents began to ridicule Marine, and these residents who blocked Marine were only local people, so Marine did not launch a counterattack, but these ridicules also angered Marine. 01 An officer with the rank of colonel walked out of the vanguard. He shouted in a deterrent voice. Everyone, my name is Bucka, and first am Colonel Marine. Your behavior has seriously affected Marine. Capture pirate, this is Marine. Advertisement. A righteous act, if you continue to make trouble, you can only be arrested. Huh, what's terrible about us people? Anyway, If you hit Whitebeard, then we don't have a good life, and what justice has said. Why don't you catch so many pirates? Kaido has been polluted here for so many years. All. I haven't seen you Marine do it. The residents weren't afraid at all, they were even more ironic, but these words did silence the colonel, because he didn't know how to answer. Marine did have Marine's questions, but he couldn't stop because of this kind of thing. Come down. I saw the colonel walking to a big rock, smashing it with a fierce blow, and then severely shocked. Listen, if we continue to prevent us from moving forward, then we will start to arrest you. NS. The colonel's deterrence did produce some effects, but it was still limited. Although the residents stepped back a little, they were worried that these Marines would really attack them, but none of them escaped, and they continued to block in front of Marine. On the road. Not long after this situation lasted, the colonel ordered Marine to forcibly evacuate them, while the residents insisted on not leaving. There was a conflict with Marine, and the scene gradually became chaotic. Although the colonel ordered the soldiers not to take too much action on the residents, the conflict between the two sides escalated more and more, and finally they fought. What happened here quickly spread to Marco and others. What? Marine did something to the residents. Marco was shocked when he heard the news. It's really too damn it to even do it to the residents. Let's go right away. Joe's also said. Advertisement. So Marco commanded the Whitebeard pirates to go quickly, and soon reached the target location, confronted Marine. After seeing the Whitebeard pirates, the residents cheered enthusiastically, and with high morale, they all expressed their intention to fight Marine with the Whitebeard pirates. However, this kind of battle is not something that ordinary people can participate in. Marco painstakingly persuaded the residents to leave and asked them to take refuge in the distance. During this period, Marine, who was confronting him, did not take action because they did not want to cause the death of innocent residents. However, after the residents evacuated, the colonel immediately ordered an attack. Brothers, let them see how powerful the Whitebeard pirates is and find the face they lost just now. Marco yelled. Kill. Because the Whitebeard pirate group was encouraged by the residents, they were full of fighting spirit. After Marco gave an order, they rushed to kill them. The personnel of the two camps instantly entangled and fought together. And Marco took the lead. He directly transformed into a phoenix flying in the air, then flew directly behind Marine, and began to dive down to make an impact. Marco rushed down, causing a serious impact on the team behind Marine, and a large pit was formed on the ground. Dozens of Marines were injured. Hee, Marco, let me deal with it. With the voice, a burly figure suddenly appeared, and when he first appeared, he threw a giant axe in the direction of Marco. The great axe was extremely fast, pierced directly through Marco's body, and then circled back to the man's hand from midair. Marco saw that the man was Marine's War Momomaru. Marco's phoenix is not the fruit of Logia. The axe hit him just now, but this damage is of no importance to Marco's resilience. Advertisement. Ha ha ha, it turned out to be Zon Momomaru, you are not my opponent. Marco laughed in the air, and at the same time slammed down. However, Marco felt a cold feeling on the way of the impact, and then two rays of light pierced and directly penetrated Marco's body. Marco stopped subconsciously, and his wounds were also the original 040 was restored immediately. Really, I can have a helper. Zon Dao Maru smiled slightly, and two tall figures suddenly appeared behind him. Is that a violent coon bear? No, it's a pacifist. He was the one who made the light just now. Marco said to himself. Haha, this is the latest reformed pacifist, let's try your power, Phoenix, Marco. Zon Momomaru said confidently. The Marine Science Force has been researching Whitebeard for the past 2 years, manufacturing and transforming various weapons. Of course, it does not necessarily have to be used on Whitebeard, but it can also deal with Whitebeard's pirate group. After all, such a huge force, if you only use it. If the number of people fights, then many Marine soldiers will be lost. Zon Momomaru has a special identity. He has always been in the scientific force, and he is very familiar with these weapons, especially the laser beam that Kizaru attached to the pacifists, which has been greatly strengthened. PX-10, come on, give this guy a taste of our greatness. Zon Dao Maru shouted loudly. The pacifist number 10 next to Zon Taomaru got the order and then took a step forward, while his eyes were shining with golden red light, and then 2 red rays of light were released from his eyes. Chapter 454. The Power of Pacifists. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The red light showed a hot breath, as if it was about to burn the air. Although Marco dodged quickly, he was still hit by one of the rays. Unlike the yellow laser light just now, the light this time is not only red, but also extremely hot, and its power has increased several times. At least Marco's wound has recovered much more slowly, and he felt pain, the burning pain. What is this? Marco was a little surprised. This seemed to be different from the pacifists he knew. He knew that the pacifist's laser beam was a copy of Kizaru's technique. And Marco had fought with Kizaru during the Top War, and he also played his tricks. That kind of laser light could not be like this at all. This kind of hot feeling made him feel the hot magma breath. I don't have much fighting capacity, and I am not a bully. The hot laser light is the proud work of the Marine Scientific Corps. It was also completed by Kizaru and Akainu. The original laser light was added with magma elements. One less commander. PX-10, you stay to deal with Joes, PX-11 follow me to other places. Zan Momomaru said, and then immediately took one of the pacifists and left Yi. Maru was very proud. Advertisement. Ha ha ha, this hot radium beam is a masterpiece of the old man and Marshal Akainu. It has both speed and strength. Marco, even if you have strong resilience, you can't dare to hit it several times. Can dodge, Zan Dao. Marco didn't know what other unknown moves the pacifist had. He was not afraid, but he just didn't want to consume too much energy on this machine. Now he is the commander of the entire team and must be cautious. Then, on the 10th, the pacifist stretched out a palm in the direction of Marco, and saw a strong air pressure from the small hole in his palm. Hit him. To deal with you, a pacifist is enough. If you use it all on you, it would be too wasteful, Zan Taomaru was very proud and confident. He felt that just a pacifist would be enough. Blocked Joes. Moreover, the pacifist attacks are so rich, so the defense must be made of special materials. Marco was not sure of his own attacks, so he did not launch attacks hastily. Hey, Joes, the suppression of gravitational waves is not so easy to resist. This is a unique trick from Mr. Fujitora. Zan Momomaru glanced at Joes before leaving, feeling full of pride in his heart. Marco, leave it to me here. At this time, a strong voice sounded, and Joes was holding a huge stone and slammed it towards Samamaru. After Samamaru noticed it, he split the stone with an axe. And said angrily, don't think. I just rely on you to stop us. Zan Dao Maru immediately became a little disdainful. These two pacifists are both first-class war killers. How can it be impossible to be blocked by Joes here? Something wasted. Seeing that Marco did not continue to attack, Zan Taomaru was also proud. Ha ha ha, how about it? You have seen how pacifists are, but this is the tip of the iceberg. Advertisement. PX-10, Gravity Wave. Zan Momomaru shouted. Damn it, what kind of trick is this? It is so different from the previous pacifists. Joes became solemn, and he could use his full strength to make his body move one step slowly. In this case, he would just pacifism. Stop for me. Joes was just about to stop them, but was immediately blocked by PX-10, Li Jiao, and a strong gravitational wave completely suppressed Joes. Ha ha ha, you haven't seen more moves yet. Zan Momomaru said with a smile, and he didn't care about Marco's attack. He continued to command the pacifists. As if the gravity of the surrounding space was greatly increased, Marco fell from the air in an instant, as if attracted by the ground, and smashed the ground deeply into a depression. Diamond Joes, when he was in the war, he blocked an eagle eye slash from the front. I must be more powerful now. It is really not easy to break your defense. Zan Taomaru faintly commented, and said in a tone. There is no fluctuation. The attacker was attacked. After the hot laser beam hit Jaws's body, it also brought some pain to Joes, but it did not cause any traces. Joes confidently said, as this Marine's new weapon, it's just that. Then, the two pacifists began to attack Joes. 4 hot beams shot at the same time. Joes was standing there, his whole body exuding the flash of diamonds, and he was not afraid of having the strongest physical defense. Joes, I'll leave it to you. Marco said, and then flew away from here. Advertisement. Don't worry, I'll stop them. Joes agreed. These things didn't cause him too much harm, but they were indeed much more powerful than the previous pacifists. Dealing with the bounty pirates of hundreds of millions is probably like beating a child. Joe's was suppressed and could not move, and PX-10 was also aiming at him to continuously emit hot radium rays, and the hot breath was spreading along with the red light. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Is this the weapon newly researched by Marine? It's surprising. Is there anything else fun? Let's use it together. Marco calmed down after flying again. Akainu's lava fruit has the top 3 attack power in Logia, and has a burning effect, which can cause effective damage. The range of effective damage has been increased. With the light speed of Kizaru's sparkling fruit, it is absolutely first class in attack. Of the strong air current hit, Marco was slightly affected, and he was about to accelerate to fly out to meet the impact, but his body suddenly felt a heaviness. A route passed by a whirlwind is full of gravity suppression. Jaws's actions were not swift in the first place, but now he is exposed to several times the gravity, so he can't move at all. No matter what you are, it won't work for me. Marco got serious. He once again rushed towards Zondao Maru. This time he was prepared to endure even if he was hit by a pacifist. As long as you defeat Zondao Maru, you can at least reduce. Then, Zondao Maru allowed the pacifists to attack independently. The 2 pacifists attacked Marco at the same time. A Ray of Light Chapter 455, Only Shichibukai. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I saw Joe's puffing up his chest. He opened his hands and the muscles of his arms expanded exaggeratedly. The whole body changed into a diamond shape and covered with armament hockey. Then Joe's let out a roar. Ah, come on, let the Lord see how powerful your weapons are, and if you have any tricks, come up all together and see if you can move the Lord. Joe's shouted full of hockey. Sure enough, even though all the hot radium rays hit Joe's, in the face of such a tough physical defense, they only left little traces on it, and couldn't penetrate Jaws's diamond layer skin at all. Huh, is it only to this level? It's useless for me. Joe's, who had suffered all the attacks, felt some numbness and burning pain in his chest. After all, such a fierce attack still has a lot of impact. But for Joe's, fully within the acceptable range. PX-10's pacifists' gaze then locked on Joe's, and saw him move to Jaws's side instantly like a real Shichibukai Bartholomew Kuma, and then a violent punch hit Jaws's body. Joe's quickly used both hands stacked on top of one another. Front block. This pacifist is more difficult than Jaws's imagination. Whether it is a long-range or close-range battle, this pacifist is perfect, and his strength is not weak. Although he lacks some skills, he is relatively in the same way. Huh, are you angry? That's okay. Let's take out all of your strength from the beginning, and we will have more fun in the fight. Zondao Maru smiled. Advertisement. For Joe's, who is not flexible enough, that won't be a disadvantage either. Former Shichibukai Jinbei. I didn't expect Murloc Jinbei to be so powerful on land, but since I met, then I won't let you continue to hurt Marine. Zon Momomaru said angrily, and immediately jumped after speaking. Will all earthquakes? However, PX-10's fist carried a heavy force, which surprised Jaws's heart extremely, and at the same time directly knocked him back by 0.57 meters. Joe stabilized himself in time so that he did not fall. Road traces. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The pacifists were also unwilling to show weakness, and they also rushed forward. The 2 sides put their hands together and began to compete for strength. Joe's went all out, but the bursting force still couldn't repel the pacifists. The forces on both sides were almost evenly matched, which made Joe's even more amazed in his heart. Although Zon Momomaru is responsible for leading the pacifists, he is also very confident in himself. He feels that his strength is capable of fighting Jinbei. Talking to himself, he couldn't help feeling a little tricky at this moment. After Zondao Maru left, he was going to continue to find Marco, but Marco flew extremely fast, and the scene of the battlefield was chaotic. Zondao Maru didn't see Marco's shadow in the air at all, so he would be there for a while. Can't find it. No. Shut up. The goddess jumped up and rushed to the front of Zondao Maru and threw a heavy punch. This punch seemed to contain a lot of his anger. Zondao Maru raised his axe in time to block it, but was still blocked by this. The force repelled a lot, rubbing on the ground. Advertisement. What about the 6th captain of the Whitebeard pirates? I don't see that you are quite loyal, but it seems that you belonged to the ant pirates before. Be loyal, still have to fight. Who does the old man think it is? It turned out to be Zon Dao Tiao Wan. Have you come with the pacifist again? Jinbei said slightly. He also remembered this guy. I thought that these robots were only equipped with some new weapons. Didn't you expect to fight to be so powerful? The body's power material and the burst of power are different. It is amazing to be able to compete with the diamond fruit power. Joe's. What kind of terrifying monster is this? A robot has such a powerful power. Jaws's eyes were full of disbelief. He was so surprised that this kind of power beyond ordinary people would appear on a transformed person. I saw Jinbei fighting wantonly in the surrounding of Marine. As soon as the Murloc karate came out, a piece of Marine soldiers fell down like a straw in the wind. Hey, in that case, I can only play with you slowly. Joe said in a deep voice. It was still repelled a lot. Add disadvantages. This pacifist is too almighty. Joe still wants to solve this guy quickly and then deal with other Marines, but now, he has to prepare for a protracted battle. Make the situation more. Joe's now understands. No wonder that Momomaru was so confident just now, and his eyes were full of pride. It seems that this new pacifist is really not a joke, and can definitely be used as a first-class powerhouse. HMPH, it's just Shichibukai. Don't put anyone in the eye, I'm not just a pacifist. Seeing Jinbei despise himself a little, Zon Momomaru was also a little angry. Advertisement. You all retreat, here is handed over to me. Zon Dao Maru said to the surrounding Marines, and these Marines retreated one after another. The old man always sits upright. He explained to the ant to withdraw before the war started. You shouldn't talk nonsense here. Jinbei explained angrily. He never liked being talked about by others. You can't stop the old man. Jinbei rushed up again, and Zon Momomaru slashed an axe from the sky without hesitation. Jinbei punched out and blocked it with the impact of the wind, and then another punch. In the abdomen of Zon Dao Maru. Interesting, really interesting. Joe's couldn't help but laughed. This feeling of being blocked by the machine was very complicated, and at the same time it completely aroused Jaws's eagerness to win. However, ABFB, he met Jinbei. Just when Joe's was surprised, PX-10 did not stop his actions. His eyes were always locked on Joe's, and then opened his mouth, ejecting a powerful light wave from it. Joe's relied on his diamond power. Was not injured, but. Let me see if you are really that strong and can resist me until when. Joe's was full of anger. Armament hockey on his body drove to ultimate, and then rushed past with all his strength. The old man is no longer Shichibukai. Please don't use that name on the old man. The old man is now the 6th captain of the Whitebeard pirates. Please remember. Jinbei said with a stern face. The question mark. Zon Dao Wan said yin and yang weirdly. 2000 watts punches. Jinbei yelled, and another powerful fist with the blade blasted out, causing a shock in front of him, and dozens of Marines were defeated. He stomped and jumped in front of Jinbei. Advertisement. Chapter 456. The Battle of the Captains. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Zon Dao Maru flew out. Jinbei's punch was added armament hockey, and Jinbei's Murloc boxing technique has already been superb. He can use the power of his fist to attack or defend, and everything depends on it. His own heart. Meaning. The Murloc Jinbei is indeed well deserved, but next, I will be serious. Zon Dao Maru stood up with a gloomy expression, patted the dust on his body casually, and his tone showed a chill. At this time, the battlefield is almost in full swing. Another pacifist PX-11 free operation brought by Zon Momomaru, arbitrarily attacked the members of the Whitebeard pirate group on the battlefield. Due to the powerful attacking moves, many pirates were defeated in a short time, but they were quickly blocked. After a pirate group was defeated, Dao figure came to PX-10. Damn it, it hurts so many of us, it's too good looking. No matter what machine you are, I won't let you continue do whatever you want. PX-11 has been chasing Beasta's shadow and shooting, and the timing of the attack is always a step slower than that of Beasta. In this way, Beasta went around behind PX-11 without knowing it. Come out, Thunder Dragon 9 Heavens. I saw Enel yell, and huge energy burst out of his body. Yes, this is Enel's ability to induce nature. He has already awakened the fruit, and every move can draw nature. Force. Advertisement. Beasta's expression became serious. He has realized the power of pacifists, but he still doesn't know all the methods of pacifists, so he can only be cautious and cautious. The power of the hot radium rays is undoubted. If Beasta is hit, then even the best situation will be ordinary combat effectiveness. This is a risk for Beasta, but with its excellent speed, PX-11 is always stunned. Did not hit him. It's all behind the PX-11, the nape of the neck. The third captain of the Whitebeard pirate regiment, foil Beasta, lock the target and attack. The radar of PX-11 was quickly locked on Beasta's body, and then two light waves hit directly. The light is extremely fast, it's fast, but Beasta has been prepared beforehand. Damn it, what kind of material is he made of? How can Marine develop such a powerful monster? Beasta sighed in his heart. He felt that this pacifist was completely beyond his imagine. After recognizing the strength of the pacifists, Beasta began to calm down. Fortunately, there were not many such machines. Except for one of his, Beasta didn't see others around him. 0. Prepared, his observation hockey was always on, so he ducked to the side. So at the beginning, the Whitebeard pirates showed a disadvantage, but later, with Enel's own power, he stubbornly pulled the situation back. One after another, the hot radium rays continued to emit, destroying the surrounding ground and leaving a burn mark. Seeing the messy state on the ground, Beasta was also a little frightened. Quietly in my heart. Don't be. Beasta held the sword and said, his tone was very firm. Looking at the wounded around, Beasta knew that this guy was not easy to deal with, but if such a machine with a range of tricks was allowed to attack, then the Whitebeard pirate mission here. Advertisement. That light hit. This makes Enel very puzzled, because the situation is actually not good now. Marine has a large number of vice admiral and no one is going to deal with it. It is Enel who is always trying his best to resist and block. Live his name. However, unlike imagined, no PX-11 did not fall down because of this. Instead, he stretched out his palm and wanted to hold Beasta. Huh, how powerful the machine is, it's just a machine, I don't believe you can think by yourself. The figure of Beasta flashed around like a phantom, and several figures appeared in the gaze of PX-11 at the same time. This makes the system nothing for a while. Beasta stepped on his feet and quickly jumped away and kept a safe distance from him. However, at this time, Beasta couldn't help showing surprise when he connected, because he did not expect this guy to be hit by his own dance of roses. It's okay. Occupying the advantage of being able to float in the air and the blessing of the heart net, Enel can avoid being attacked, but his resistance is also limited, because most of the Marine and Whitebeard pirate groups have been entangled in battle. Judging by the law, he attacked indiscriminately. With the full outbreak of the battlefield, the captains of the Whitebeard pirates have all fought with Marine vice admiral and above, but in general, the mid to high-end combat power of Marine is higher than that of the Whitebeard pirates group. Damn it, Aokiji, the pressure is all on me now, but it doesn't matter, this battle, let me get a good show of the limelight. Enel gradually thought about it, and he decided to take advantage of this opportunity. Make a big fuss, let Marine remember. It will definitely lose a lot. Advertisement. After a dance, Beasta stepped on the back of PX-11, and he clasped both his swords around his waist with a confident expression. What is that guy Aokiji doing? Why has he never shot? Enel kept beating the drums in the sky, summoning waves of thunder and lightning to hit Marine's range, but he kept paying attention to Aokiji. Aokiji was always in the Whitebeard Sea. But this is also, of course, pacifists can even fight Joes at close range, how can it be directly defeated by Beasta? The back of the thieves did not make a move. Very well, it's now. Beasta's two-handed sword flashed in an instant, and red microlights radiated from the sword. Then the rose petals rotated and fell from the air, and countless sword lights jumped among the petals. These sword lights where it hits. Fortunately, if this kind of machine is everywhere, it will be really troublesome, although it is very difficult to deal with, but I must solve this guy here. 0 seeking flowers. Not only that, but Beasta was surprised that there were no traces left on the back of PX-11's neck. Although there were some subtle sword marks, it was not that obvious. It can be said that PX-11's defense was not broken at all. Enel had to consider whether the Whitebeard pirate group was around in order to summon Raiden. The position of Raiden's fall was also very carefully chosen. In this case, he was able to exert less than 1/10 of his strength. How is it possible? At such a close distance, the rose dance can't split him. Beasta was surprised to be a little surprised, but he added armament hockey. Chapter 457. Whitebeard enters the war. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Soon, a huge dark cloud appeared above Enel, and the dark cloud instantly formed a huge shadow, covering the battlefield below. The people who were fighting under the battlefield were aware of this shadow, and they paused because of this. Then, to everyone's surprise, a dragon full of blue thunder and lightning swam out of the dark clouds. The dragon is not an entity, it is just an energy body converged by blue thunder and lightning, and this energy is so amazing that even Akainu was surprised. Marshal, that is Enel of the Whitebeard pirates. It is said to be a member of Whitebeard's newly established imperial palace. He has the fruits of thunder and lightning. The subordinates beside Akainu reported to him. Akainu and several marine admiral are still on the battleship, but they were able to observe the situation on the battlefield through the telescope. 057. After the lightning appeared, the energy fluctuation and environmental impact caused by Akainu were also very fast. Wait for attention. Arrive. That guy, using such a range and intensity of moves, is he trying to kill Marine along with their own people? The Green Bull felt a little puzzled. It's not surprising if this is the case. After all, their combat power is not our Marine's opponent. Akainu said lightly. Akainu can understand this kind of damage to the enemy by 1,800. After all, if it is replaced by Akainu himself, he can also sacrifice Marine in order to eliminate the pirates. This, as can be seen from the previous Buster call, Akainu can sacrifice even civilians, not to mention the stricter Marine. I think he would not use it lightly. Whitebeard has always valued his family and should not tolerate such behavior. He may want to block our rear support. Fujitora said slowly. Advertisement. Although Fujitora's eyes are invisible, he can accurately analyze the situation in his heart. As soon as he said this, both Kizaru and Green Bull nodded. The battlefield is fully unfolded, but there are still many troops behind Marine who have not been in contact with the pirates, so Fujitora feels that Enel's goal is likely to be to cut off this part. No matter what, I can't let him take action. Lu Niu, that person, leave it to you to solve it. Akainu ordered. Is it me again? Green Bull sighed slightly, but he also accepted it immediately. But it's okay. I just fought with Aokiji. Now, let's take a look at another of Whitebeard's fierce fighters. The Green Bull quickly left after speaking. As the battle was raging on the battlefield, a figure suddenly appeared in the distant sky, and Whitebeard stood tall and straight in the sky. By using the transmission of shock waves, Whitebeard can feel some details in the battlefield even without looking at it, not to mention Enel's powerful and eye-catching moves. Originally, Whitebeard wanted to test his pirate group, but he didn't expect Wentai, Yaluoj, Tesla, etc. to be injured and leave early. Whitebeard has sent them back to the general's house to rest. However, this also made Whitebeard realize a problem, that is, this test seems to have failed, but this is not the problem of his Whitebeard pirates, but this time, the power that Marine has prepared is too strong, Yamato is comprehensive, and the previous any. The little fights at a time are different. Advertisement. It seems that the Marine government has made up its mind to destroy me this time, ha ha ha. No wonder there has been no movement in the past 2 years. Secretly, it has been actively preparing. Is that a new style pacifist? It turns out that there is arrogant capital. Whitebeard felt some battlefields a bit, and he confirmed that Marine's combat power was greater than during the Top War, but the number of seamen was less, but these lowest level seamen could not affect the battle. In addition, this new style pacifist also made Whitebeard's eyes shine brightly. The pacifists during the war were completely spicy and could only bully some little pirates at that time. But now, seeing his 2 members Admiral, Bista and Jinbei are entangled by such pacifists, Whitebeard knows their strengths. However, this also gave Whitebeard some new ideas. According to Marine's progress, even if Marine is defeated now, when they continue to develop new powers in the future, the result will be unknown. Whitebeard has made up his mind to change the world. He not only wants to become the One Piece, the freest man on the sea, travel the world, sail the Grand Line, etc. The world takes on a whole new look, which is Whitebeard's ultimate goal. So in the past 2 years, Whitebeard contacted the revolutionary Long intermittently. In Whitebeard's view, he and Long's goals are somewhat aligned. However, this goal is to be realized slowly. To disintegrate the world government, we must start from the basics, gain popular support and prestige, and then use force to change. Advertisement. If the rule is overthrown by force directly, the new world and the new government will not be stable. Therefore, the small goal at this stage is to expand the influence. Whitebeard has always done this, defeating the four emperors, defeating Kaido, forming his own influence and prestige in the Fishmen Island and Wano Kuni and other areas, and constantly eroding the countries under the World Government Alliance. One day, Whitebeard gave an order. We'll be able to convene soldiers and horses from all over the world. However, what Whitebeard did not expect was that the Marine government developed so fast in such a short period of time. Look at the ordinary Marine soldiers, their guns and artillery are more powerful than before. Even with weapons, those ordinary Marine soldiers can contend with some 5.1 squad captains. The innovation of weapons to such a point has to make Whitebeard jealous. Mastered the Marine government of the science forces. It's amazing. I don't know how much Admiral the Marine government has prepared for me, and is there any weapon specifically designed to deal with me? It is really curious and expectant. Whitebeard has already begun to imagine. Ocean. The army tried his best to deal with him. But Whitebeard is still very curious. What kind of combat power Marine will prepare, what kind of plan and what kind of equipment to deal with him. All this makes Whitebeard unable to restrain his excitement. Yes, he wants it now. Fought. HMPH, come on, let me see what you have prepared for Akainu. Whitebeard let out a confident laugh, and his figure flew quickly towards the battlefield. Chapter 458, Whitebeard vs Akainu. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Whitebeard was extremely fast and came to the battlefield in a flash. Everyone of the Whitebeard pirates, don't back down in this battle, because we will definitely win. Whitebeard rapped his voice with shocking power, and then suddenly burst, spreading the sound wave to the entire battlefield. Scope. Everyone heard Whitebeard's voice. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirate group was all excited when they heard it. All of a sudden, their morale rose, and they were full of fighting will. However, the Marines were the opposite. They felt after hearing Whitebeard's voice. 1. Fear and fear. In this world, everyone knows that Whitebeard's power can easily cause earthquakes and tsunamis. I am afraid that thousands of Marines can be wiped out with just a gesture. Therefore, Marines are worried that Whitebeard will attack them. Father. Marco cried out in surprise, as he was fighting Marines 3 headquarters, Vice Admiral. Father, you finally showed up. Great. Enel also exclaimed excitedly. Everyone looked in Whitebeard's direction, and Whitebeard then said, you guys disappointed me too much. Do you only have this ability after 2 years of training? 01. As soon as the words came out, everyone immediately bowed their heads in shame. Facing Whitebeard's accusation, none of them dared to complain. They could only constantly stimulate their own strength to fight and defeat more Marines. Whitebeard, it's Whitebeard. He finally appeared. When Whitebeard appeared, the Red Dog's eyes were filled with light. Yes, they have been waiting for Whitebeard's appearance. Have you appeared? Are we going to fight now? Fujitora asked. Advertisement. As that Whitebeard. It really is full of momentum. His eyes and looks are not like an old man at all. Green Bull said in surprise. Since Whitebeard has appeared, Akainu, in order to prevent Whitebeard's shot from causing damage to our Marine, I think we will attack now. Kizaru also said. Slow, I'll come first. I will drag Whitebeard here, and then you will attack together. Akainu stared in Whitebeard's direction and said. After speaking, Akainu's figure jumped out of the battleship. His body rose to give up a burst of hot aura. The temperature of the magma was already the same as the excitement in Akainu's heart at this moment. Whitebeard, this moment has finally arrived. I don't believe that such a luxurious lineup can't hold you down. Akainu's eyes flashed with excitement. He looked forward to this moment, to be precise, the moment when Whitebeard was eliminated. Akainu rushed in from midair, and a cold killing intent had already been conveyed over a distance of tens of meters. Whitebeard, long time no see. Akainu's gloomy voice came from a distance. Who is it? Enel immediately shouted in a deep voice. When he saw Akainu's impact, Enel did not hesitate to drop the Thunder Dragon from the sky and blitzed directly towards Akainu. The huge Thunder Dragon quickly exploded with an impact, and the surrounding space burst into turbulence of thunder and lightning, and the ground below was turned black. Have you succeeded? Enel stared at the direction of Thunder Dragon's explosion. No figure was seen there. However, Whitebeard let out a chuckle and said, it's been a long time, Sakazuki. No, it should be Marshal Akainu now. I didn't expect that you, who have become Marshal Marine, would show up in person. It's really surprising. Advertisement. Enel followed Whitebeard's gaze, only to see that Akainu had escaped his blow just now and escaped unharmed from the range of the explosion. It's okay. Is it another cruel character? Enel muttered in his heart. Based on Akainu's performance, he concluded that he was not the opponent of this guy and could only be handed over to Whitebeard to deal with, but then again, this guy is in order to come to Whitebeard. Akainu jumped continuously in the air, and quickly jumped not far in front of Whitebeard, and his appearance also brought a voice to Marine. Great. It is Marshal Akainu. I didn't expect him to come in person. Yes, Master Marshal can definitely fight Whitebeard. We still have so many great admiral. This time the Whitebeard pirates will definitely not be pleased. We have to cheer up. Marine's morale has been greatly improved, and the fighting between the two sides has become more and more fierce, but Akainu doesn't care about the battle below, and only Whitebeard is the only target in his eyes. Whitebeard, let's say goodbye to the war. We haven't seen each other for a few years. The scars I caused you at the beginning should be pretty good now. Baihu. Son. However, such an ordinary method of Whitebeard can affect the mentality. The stronger the person, the heart will be calm. Whitebeard just smiled and replied. Of course, but this time, I think you should be you. Came to bear the injury, and advertisement. Your attack can no longer hurt me. Quote. Really? A killing intent flashed in Akainu's eyes, his killing intent exploded rapidly, and a ball of magma instinctively spawned in his hand and threw it towards Whitebeard. The 057 group of extremely hot magma matter seemed to be able to burn even air, but Whitebeard didn't blink his eyes, and even Hockey didn't unfold it. He just used his body to follow the move without moving. The magma hit Whitebeard's position, and it did make Whitebeard feel the warm temperature, but it did not cause him any damage at all. This attack could not break Whitebeard's defense at all. Even if Whitebeard doesn't do anything, his physical strength is already above Kaido. Even if it is a strong admiral, ordinary attacks cannot harm him. If you want to cause harm to Whitebeard, no matter what kind of strong person you are, it is impossible not to do your best. What? As expected, the strength of the body is still beyond imagination. Whitebeard's indifferent look surprised Akainu. Although I have known that Whitebeard's physical strength is very unusual, I still feel shocked when I see it in person, because Akainu knows that his magma's attack power is by no means comparable to Kizaru's light. Whitebeard, you and I are going to start a big battle here. I'm afraid it will add more deaths. Can we change a place? Akainu asked. As you wish, Whitebeard said in a lightly relaxed tone. Chapter 459. Whitebeard's Horror Swordsmanship. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. If fighting here, then the power displayed by Akainu and Whitebeard will definitely cause countless deaths, which is naturally what Whitebeard does not want to see. However, even though he agreed to Akainu's request, it doesn't mean that Whitebeard didn't understand what Akainu was thinking of. Akainu, I know that you have prepared a strong lineup for me, but it doesn't matter. I just want to see how great your abilities are, and what is my limit. Whitebeard said while flying with Akainu. Whitebeard knew very well in his heart that Akainu wanted to lead himself to a place that was easy to deal with, but Whitebeard didn't care, but looked forward to it, because in all Whitebeard's battles, he hadn't pushed his limits. Whitebeard also wants to know whether he can see and surpass his limits in battle, and to do this, he needs external pressure. Therefore, Whitebeard hopes that the more prepared the Marine is, the stronger the better. This point Baihu. The son was very happy to get an opinion, so he cooperated in this way. Whitebeard, you understand, but you are so calm, do you look down on the power of our Marine? Akainu asked gloomily. Where is it? Of course I can look forward to it. The Marine government has a long history. Although I am a pirate, first don't hate Marine, because there are indeed many evil pirates in this world who need Marine to check and balance. I just hate them. Advertisement. It's just a person. Whitebeard said with a smile. Akainu didn't speak, but his face was very unhappy, because Whitebeard's words were clearly referring to himself, and Akainu cursed in his heart. Whitebeard, you can be proud of it now, and you will see the true power of Marine in the near future. I will be afraid to beg for mercy. Akainu feels that this battle Marine is already determined to win. They have prepared too much power and spent a lot of military expenses to deal with Whitebeard, but Akainu feels it is worth it. Because as long as Whitebeard can be defeated, Marine's prestige will return to its peak, even beyond any time in the past, even the period of Roger's execution cannot be compared with it. At the same time, Akainu can also obtain the eternal glory of Marine. You must know that Garp was also honored after he captured Roger. Akainu hopes that his name will always be recorded in the legend of Marine history. Come here, they're here. 1. Kizaru and others observed Akainu and Whitebeard moving quickly in the sky toward this place in the battleship. In the end, Akainu stopped in an open space in front of the coast. There was a wide open space. After stopping, Whitebeard observed the surroundings. He found that although it was a distance from the coast, the field of vision was also able to see the marine battle in the inner sea. Ship. Why do you want to use these warships to fight me together? Whitebeard asked casually. Are you scared? Akainu asked. Advertisement. What is there to be afraid of? I'm just worried that if you fight later, your battleship will be scrapped. Whitebeard said with a smile. Even if he doesn't attack, just the fluctuations caused by the battle can be destroyed. Those battleships. And it takes a lot of money to build such a luxurious warship. Marine is not distressed, and Whitebeard feels a bit wasted. He also wants to take all these warships away after the war. The 5 warships that Marine gave to Whitebeard last time are basically backward products. Although they can still be used, they can only deal with small and medium pirate groups. And that kind of scene does not require any warships, only a few. Captain can. NS. However, the current Marine battleship, although Whitebeard has not seen the power, but just looking at the appearance of this battleship, you can feel the extraordinariness of this battleship. Such a good thing, Whitebeard can't bear to destroy it. HMPH. You don't need to worry about these things, Whitebeard. Your 4 emperors situation is not maintained. Why do you keep attacking other 4 emperors? Is it to follow Roger's path? Akainu began to say seriously, before the battle, these questions. It also needs to be clarified. After all, although Whitebeard is opposed to them, as the peak pirate of this era, his ideas are very valuable, because his ideas may continue to affect the pirates of later generations, just like Roger in the past. It was a word before death that successfully opened an era, the era of great navigation. Guhahaha. Akainu, I didn't expect you to ask me this question so seriously. I thought you would take action without hesitation, and I wish to beat me right away. Whitebeard said with a surprised smile. Hearing that, Akainu couldn't help clenching his fists. This was what he said, because Akainu really wanted to defeat Whitebeard immediately, but obviously, he couldn't do it. If he could do it, he really wouldn't ask. These questions are directly. Advertisement. Defeating Whitebeard and then publicly executing it is over. In the past 2 years, you have defeated Anti and Kaido one after another. It seems that the next goal is Shanks, right? After sweeping away all the 4 emperors, you will be the One Piece. What else will you do afterwards? Akainu continued to ask. Hey, ha ha ha, after becoming the king of pirates, I am the freest man in the sea. Of course, I swim in the sea and let the flag of the Whitebeard pirates spread all over the sea, haha. Whitebeard said with a smile. He knew that Akainu want to try. Explore your own thoughts, but these Whitebeards do not intend to expose them to the Marine government. Marine has always been responsible for chasing pirates. Even if you become the pirate king, the Marine government will not let Zhao abandon your capture. Isn't the last pirate king also caught? Akainu said faintly. Said. Roger. He has completed his value, but I am not Roger, nor are you Garp. Akainu, let me see how much better you are than during the war. Whitebeard does not intend to continue talking nonsense with Akainu. He raised the sword and went to Akainu. Cut it over. Whitebeard swiped a few meters away, and a sword light of more than 10 meters slashed out, as if it was about to pierce the sky. The powerful momentum shocked Akainu's heart. He did not expect that Whitebeard would suddenly make a move, and this looks casual. One blow is so powerful. It's no wonder Whitebeard can take away the title of Hawkeye's #1 swordsman in the world. Akainu said with emotion in his heart. He was fortunate that Whitebeard did not attach armament Haki, so although his body was cut in half, Logi as he was soon recovered. Chapter 460. Hockey Field. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Whitebeard, are you showing mercy to my subordinates? You look down on me too much. Akainu showed a terrifying look, and he quickly waved his fists, launching countless magma punches in the air. These magma punches are like shooting stars. Falling towards Whitebeard. Coming down. Huh. Whitebeard snorted coldly, and shook the big knife down. A powerful tremor burst out, and directly bounced all the oncoming magma punches. The magma fist was constantly bounced off and fell on the ground, and instantly burned and melted on the ground. The ground was melted by magma, forming a small sea of magma. It's the ability to damage the environment. Whitebeard frowned. Whitebeard, today you are going to fail here anyway. Akainu shouted, and at the same time he magmatized the arms of his hands, and then quickly extended. Two magma arms grabbed Whitebeard's body from both sides. The magma adheres to Whitebeard's body, which would have produced a hot high temperature, but this did not have the desired effect on Whitebeard. Next, Akainu plans to use magma to completely wrap Whitebeard in it. Using high heat to evaporate Whitebeard, this is the idea of the red dog, but the corner of Whitebeard's mouth is slightly raised with the 070 arc. Advertisement. Marshal's signal, it's time to attack. Fujitora and Kizaru in the battleship immediately dispatched. Kizaru joined the battlefield like a flash of light, and then kicked countless laser beams toward Whitebeard in the air. In addition, although Fujitora looked sluggish, the knife in his hand was gently pulled out of the sheath, and a terrifying force immediately unfolded. In the sky, a huge meteorite appeared on the top of Whitebeard's head, and the position of Whitebeard produced a strong force. The gravity is suppressed. Is that so, Marine 3 Admiral? It seems that there is still one missing. Is the Marshal personally replaced? Whitebeard was wrapped in magma in the depths. He was motionless but fully aware of the surrounding situation. Both Kizaru and Fujitora's participation in the battle was noticed by Whitebeard, and before their attack had any effect, an unparalleled force burst out of Whitebeard's body. This force seemed to be earth-shaking, as if to bounce off everything in the world. A strong impact exploded outwards with Whitebeard as the center, and extremely subtle vibrations were generated in the air. The amount of this force ABFB was amazing, and at the beginning of the eruption, Akainu had to step back a lot. His magma was also hit without a trace in an instant, and it seemed to be completely dissipated by the force. The huge meteorite in the sky was forcibly shaken back by this force. Even the laser light emitted by Kizaru disappeared under the impact of this force. Whitebeard was like a god in the battle circle, releasing light that was difficult to see. Akainu, Fujitora, and Kizaru all suffered from the shock where Whitebeard made it. Under this shock, they couldn't get close to Whitebeard. They could only wait for the end of the shock. Is this the Haki domain of the Emperor Haki? Whitebeard looked at his fist and exclaimed. What he just released was the Haki domain of the Emperor Haki. The so-called Haki domain was able to stabilize the state of releasing Haki and maintain one for a while, and the power is also very powerful. Advertisement. At this moment, Whitebeard didn't have to worry about hurting his own people, so he released his Emperor Haki with all his strength, destroyed all the attacks of Akainu and the others in an instant, and knocked them back unable to get close. This is the power that bursts out when the Haki domain is used for the first time. After it stabilizes, the domain is maintained within a radius of 20 meters. Within this range, anyone will be impacted by the Whitebeard Emperor Haki, and it is an uninterrupted impact. Although Admiral's strength can resist this impact, it takes a lot of strength and energy. After the impact, Akainu, Kizaru, and Fujitora were all 20 meters away from Whitebeard. They didn't know what Whitebeard was doing. Is Whitebeard's shocking power just now? Fujitora asked in shock. No, the power of shaking is not like this. This should be Conqueror's Haki of Whitebeard. Akainu said solemnly. Can Conqueror's Haki be so strong? It's unimaginable. Kizaru was extremely surprised. Such a powerful opponent, it seems that the Green Bull will be summoned. Fujitora said. Whitebeard easily bounced off their attack, which proved that the power of the three of them was still limited and not enough to fight Whitebeard. Akainu immediately denied. No, you need an admiral to sit on the front battlefield. Aokiji of the Whitebeard Pirates hasn't taken any action yet. Hey, Aokiji guy, I really hope he can look back again. Kizaru sighed. He remembered the scene when the three of them were fighting together on the top of the war. The three giants jointly seated in the marine government and greeted the Whitebeard pirates. The arrival of that. Waiting for the scene is shocking. Advertisement. Now let's delay the time, and wait for Kaido and the others to be released. Akainu said, they will finally unite Kaido and Ant to deal with Whitebeard. Whitebeard is so perfect in attack and defense. If so many people can't solve him, then there is really no hope in the future. Kizaru said. Next, be more cautious. Don't attack Whitebeard rashly, but pay attention to cooperation. Akainu said to them. Akainu and Kizaru surrounded Whitebeard from different directions in the sky, but when they stepped into the 20-meter range of Whitebeard, they instantly felt a continuous force impacting them. As this, Haki attacked. Whitebeard didn't seem to do anything. Why? Akainu felt incredible. Even when he released Haki, he could see some reactions, but Whitebeard didn't seem to be releasing Haki at all. Didn't do anything. As this a fixed range. Kizaru didn't feel the pressure immediately after exiting the 20-meter distance, but he felt it again after stepping in. Therefore, Kizaru understood that this was a constant and stable attack with a fixed range, and did not need Whitebeard to maintain it himself. Fujitora does not have the ability to fly. He cannot stay in the air for a long time, so he has been on the ground and felt the pressure after approaching Whitebeard 20 meters away. Damn it! Keep your distance from Whitebeard. Akainu shouted angrily. In this case, they couldn't get close to Whitebeard at all. Chapter 461. The Mocked Akainu. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Guhahaha. Akainu, how is it? Wasn't you still full of confidence just now? Whitebeard couldn't help laughing when all three of Akainu stepped back. What Akainu said just now that Whitebeard's defeat is set, but right now, he can't even get close to him, which makes Whitebeard feel very funny. Huh. It takes a lot of stamina to maintain this power. I'll see if you have unlimited stamina, and this distance can't stop our attack. Akainu replied tit for tat. The range of 20 meters is not a long distance for Admiral. Their tricks can easily cover a large area, but at such a distance, no matter what kind of attack they make, Whitebeard will have plenty of time. Reaction. This point is also clear to Akainu, but originally he had a plan. In his plan, neither Kaido nor the ant has yet come, and it is far from the time to go all out. Magma Dragon Fist. Akainu suddenly yelled, and then released a fierce magma dragon from the fist of his right hand, and rushed towards Whitebeard. The magma dragon continuously hissed in the air. After entering the 20-acre area of Whitebeard, it also suffered an impact. Its speed instantly decreased a lot, and the impact gradually slowed down. Within this 20-meter distance, the power of the magma dragon was constantly being grinded and weakened. Finally, when it hit Whitebeard, its volume had shrunk several times. It looked like a small snake in Whitebeard's view, and it didn't hurt him. Itchy. Is this the magma dragon fist? Why is it like an earthworm? Whitebeard laughed. Damn it. Akainu was furious, and he realized that any offensive skills would also be suppressed. In this way, it would not be a threat to the Whitebeard at all. Advertisement. In this case, we can only wait for Whitebeard to attack us proactively. As long as we don't attack Whitebeard, then he has been consuming. Akainu said. I think it makes sense. Let's spend a little time with Whitebeard first. I don't believe that Whitebeard's physical strength is unlimited. He is obviously an old man and so energetic. Kizaru also said. Therefore, in the following time, Akainu and others no longer actively attacked Whitebeard, but have been delaying time. Even if Whitebeard actively attacked them, they all chose to dodge, and they would cooperate with each other, even if they suffered Whitebeard. Relying on the upright body of the mature man, they all resisted. On the other hand, Akainu had agreed to Lu Chi's plan before and sent personnel to rescue Kaido and Ant Lantern, and the personnel sent out were Drake's secret troops. At the moment Marine is in a fierce battle with the Whitebeard pirates. If the Whitebeard pirates can be eliminated smoothly, then Drake will not need to go undercover, because the entire pirate world will change. And if Marine fails, then there is no need to go undercover. Therefore, Drake does not need to reveal his identity at this time. When Marine and the Whitebeard pirates battle fiercely, Drake leads his secret troops all the way. Sneak. There are a dozen people in Drake's party. Although the number is not large, they are all relatively elite personnel, and Kirby is included among them. Captain, do you say we can successfully release Kaido? Kirby asked on the way. Where Kaido can be detained, there are definitely powerful guards, and they are not that high-end combat power at all, and carrying out this task also involves a lot of risks. Advertisement. It's hard to say, but now the battle is already underway. The Whitebeard pirate group should have no personnel left behind. The famous figure in the general's mansion seems to be called the Red Sword 9 Heroes. The main resistance should be them. Drake said. These are all information given by Lu Chi. Speaking of which, we really want to release Kaido. Kaido is even more evil than Whitebeard. Kirby questioned. We only need to execute the order. In short, the most critical target is Whitebeard. He has already caused a serious threat to the Marine government. The above must definitely pull out his nail. As for Kaido, he can be defeated. Once, just. There can be a second time. Drake replied. That's right, but I always think it doesn't seem to be good, Kirby said. 0. Ask for flowers. At this moment Drake stopped. He turned around and patted Kirby on the shoulder and said to him, you should strengthen your beliefs. You are a Marine. You must unswervingly implement the Marine government's orders. I think you will be in this war. How many comrades in arms have been lost? Hearing this, Kirby was shocked at once. Yes, in this war, countless lives will die, but what is the meaning of all this? Is justice performed, but what justice is, for Wano Kuni for these civilians? Perhaps Whitebeard is justice. Advertisement. After all, when they sneaked just now, they also saw the situation when the residents came out to block Marine. It is reasonable to say that ordinary people will not support the pirates, but Whitebeard is so popular, there must be something worth exploring. Research things. 0.0. Kebi, why are you so persistent? Think about what benefits these can bring you. If we do things badly, Marshal Akainu will definitely not let us go. Drake continued. I understand, the task must be executed, but I still have one question, that is, what if he doesn't deal with Whitebeard after we release Kaido? Kirby asked. Kaido is so strong, once he wants to take the opportunity to leave, we have no way to stop them, and if something more serious happens, maybe they will attack us directly. Kirby's question also calmed Drake, because this was indeed a problem, and it was quite dangerous for a figure of the Four Emperors level to come into contact. More importantly, Drake used to be Kaido's flying hexapods, but now he has become the captain of Marine's secret force. If they don't, they will anger Kaido, so their actions will be very risky. Your worry is not unreasonable, but it is also the worst case. I don't think Kaido will choose to offend Marine at this time, because they should know that even if they don't choose to leave with Marine, then they will not be able to escape Whitebeard. Of chasing. Drake said. Chapter 462. Kaido who escaped. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Well, Kaido and the ant must not dare to let Whitebeard continue to live freely, it will never be peaceful for them. Kirby nodded. With the passage of time, Drake and his party gradually came to the Flower City. People here basically knew that the Whitebeard pirates were fighting with Marine. Some people ran to watch the excitement, and some were here as the Whitebeard pirates. Group prayer. In addition, Momonosuke, the current owner of the Flower City General Mansion, was also praying for Whitebeard. Whitebeard would not let him send samurai to fight, which made Momonosuke a little depressed. Kaido and others were imprisoned in a special prison in the City of Flowers. There, the Murloc Song of the Nine Scarlet Swords was responsible for guarding. The guards were not very strong, but there were many patrolling personnel. It's not easy to get close. Captain, what should I do now? There are a lot of people going up there. Kebi asked. They were not far from the prison. They observed that there was only one entrance, and there was basically no place to sneak in secretly. Are guarded and patrolled. It is impossible to enter without disturbing anyone. Drake observed for a while, and he immediately said, I can only induce combat. I am responsible for leading the personnel to deal with them and attracting other personnel. You take the opportunity to sneak into the prison. As soon as possible. Kaido and others were released and explained the situation with them. Is such an important task entrusted to me? Kirby was a little unconfident. It's okay, Kirby, believe in yourself, you should have confidence in your talents. Drake encouraged. Okay, leave it to me. Kirby agreed after hesitating for a while. Logic. Advertisement. As a result, Drake immediately appeared on the street with his own team grandiosely, and step by step towards the direction of the prison, while Kirby continued to stay in place, at the same time planning the infiltration route later. Brothers, rescue Kaido-sama, rush. Drake led his team to quickly attack. There is an attack, there is an attack. The guards at the prison entrance quickly sounded an alarm and fought Drake and others at the same time. Since Drake's team didn't wear marine clothes, and Drake had a reputation as an errand under Kaido before, he just used this disguised identity to rescue Kaido in an open manner. Master Kaido is being held here, we must rescue him. Drake shouted loudly, a mess at the prison entrance. After the prison's alarm went off, more and more combatants came to support from the prison, and Kasong also came out with the samurai. What is the situation? Who are you? He-song asked. Master Kasong. They are Kaido's subordinates, clamoring to rescue Kaido. A subordinate reported. At this time, Kasong also noticed Drake, and he immediately recognized that this was one of Kaido's flying hexapods. It turned out to be you, Drake. Your beast's pirates are over, and Kaido has chosen to join the Whitebeard pirates. Are you still trying to make trouble? He-song immediately glared. HMPH, just because you want to lock Kaido, I can rescue Kaido-sama right away. Drake said proudly. Stubbornly, I just caught you together so that you members can get together and get together. He-song immediately drew out his knife. Advertisement. Come on, what's to be afraid of? You'd better all go together. Drake said arrogantly, and at the same time his body quickly grew bigger and soon changed into the form of an Allosaurus. Dragon fruit, ancient alien dragon form, Kaido's subordinates are so disgusting. He-song couldn't help but smash it. Huh, you can't get better there. Drake also said tit for tatly. He-song is a murloc, so it's not a normal human being. Then, Drake facilitated the battle for Kawamatsu. With the huge strength and sharp claws of the Allosaurus, Drake exploded with great fighting power and completely restrained Kawamatsu. At this time, the gate of the prison was open, and the surrounding personnel were fighting in a melee. It's this time. Kirby saw the timing in secret. He moved quickly section by section, and finally turned directly off the top of the prison, and then rushed directly in. Kirby didn't know if anyone saw him, but as soon as he entered the prison, he ran swiftly, and his eyes quickly scanned the cells on both sides. Stop! Who are you? Kirby was quickly discovered by other patrols in the prison while he was moving. It turned out that not all the people in the prison had left. You better leave, I don't want to hurt people. Kirby said. It's slouching. The troublemaker outside is your companion, right? The purpose is to attract firepower to you, brothers, catch him for me. The guard captain was also a little clever. He saw Kirby and their plan directly, and quickly pursued Kirby. Kirby ran all the way forward and ran to the end of the prison. In the last cell, he watched. Arrived at Kaido and waited. People. Advertisement. Kaido. Here. Kirby stopped immediately. There is no way, I have to fight. Kirby resorted to Marine 6 styles, knocked down these people in a short while, and then found the key from them. Kirby stood at the cell door and looked at the people in the cell, including Kaido, Anti, 3 Plagues, Flying 6 Powers, etc. These people all stared at him, especially Kaido and Anti, their eyes showed the strong. That kind of majesty and pressure, this makes Kirby. I felt as if my heart was being pressed by a stone. You were sent by Marine, I didn't expect to come to rescue us so soon. Kaido stared at Kirby and said. Hurry up and open the prison door, I'm already getting excited. The ant said with a smile. Ha ha ha, it seems that Marine still needs 5.1 US very much, and Whitebeard is really not that easy to deal with. Jack also said with a smile. However, Kirby's hand did not open the prison door for a long time. He had to explain the situation first, but in the face of so many strong men, his confidence suddenly became much weaker. Little guy, why didn't you open the prison door? Are you stunned? Kaido couldn't help but said when he saw that Kebi hadn't acted for a while, and the whole person seemed to be stunned. I was sent by Marine to release you, but after releasing you, you must abide by the previous agreement and work with Marine against Whitebeard. I need to confirm this with you. Kirby finally asked. Ha ha ha, of course there is no problem. We have already agreed on the things that have been agreed, and we are very confirming. Come on, quickly open the prison door. Kaido quickly replied. Chapter 463. The agreement between the 4 emperors and Marine. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Although Kaido did not hesitate to agree, but looking at their appearance, Kirby still had doubts in his heart. He was not sure whether Kaido and others would abide by the agreement after they were released. But now Kirby has no other way. He can only choose to believe in Kaido. If Kaido really has other ideas, it will be difficult to stop. After hesitating again and again, Kirby chose to open the prison door immediately after hearing that the fighting outside was getting smaller and smaller. Then, Kirby unlocked the sea stone chains on each of them. When Kaido and Anti regained their freedom, both of them showed great power in an instant, and the haki that it spread out made Kirby full of oppression. Ha ha ha, freedom is finally restored. Kaido shouted. Finally, I don't need to be kept in this ghost place anymore. I don't know what's going on outside. Kaido, how do we act now? Do you have any ideas? The ant asked. Kaido was silent for a while. His gaze couldn't help looking at Kirby. Ha ha ha. Of course we will leave this ghostly place right away. We can't be so stupid as to be used by Marine. Let Marine and Whitebeard kill each other. Bar. After saying that, Kaido destroyed the entire cell with one punch, and then another punch, punching a huge hole in the prison wall. The four emperors acted and didn't go to the front door at all. So, the ant and Kaido's staff followed him to prepare to leave, leaving Kirby standing alone. He was completely desperate. As expected, Kaido was not trustworthy at all. Advertisement. Wait, what about this guy? Can't just let him go back and report it to Marine, or maybe we will be dealt with right away. Jack suddenly realized this problem before he left, and he was going to come and kill Kirby. Jack's actions were not prevented, which is equivalent to Kaido's default, while Kirby's heart was beating violently. Jack, one of the three plagues, was an absolute heavyweight opponent to him. It's impossible to win. What should I do? Am I going to die here? Drake trusted me so much. In the end I failed. Kaido is not trustworthy. He will bring harm to the Marine government. Jack is so powerful. How can I escape from him? Yeah. Gee. Bai's brain was thinking wildly out of control. However, the instinct to survive still urges Kirby to try his best to dodge when Jack's attack arrives, but every time, Kirby feels extremely dangerous. It seems that he may be killed by Jack at any time, and this guy has not yet transformed. Mammoth. Just relying on his human form posed a huge threat to Kirby. Wait, Kaido, you stupid guys, do you think you can survive if you leave here? Kirby suddenly shouted in his loudest voice. To get Kaido's attention, he must use this extreme method. Although this may also trigger Guy. Too much anger, so that I lose my life faster, but I always do nothing and wait for death to be stronger, this risk is worth it. Sure enough, Kaido stopped immediately after Kirby yelled. He then turned around and yelled at Jack, Jack, stop. Jack's fierce attack stopped 1 meter away from Kirby. The strong wind pressure caused by the attack hit Kirby's face. He breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Kaido gave himself a chance to speak. Little guy, what do you mean? Kaido asked in a low voice. Advertisement. You don't know the situation outside, let me explain. Marshal Marine personally led several Marine admiral to besiege Whitebeard, and at the same time use Marine's powerful weapons to suppress Whitebeard. However, more is needed now. To suppress Whitebeard, otherwise there would be no way to prepare Marine's ultimate weapon. Kirby said. The ultimate weapon, what is that? Kaido asked. I'm not very clear, but this is a big killer specially prepared to deal with Whitebeard. It is said that it can destroy a city in an instant. Marine intends to use this weapon to destroy Whitebeard. The premise is to suppress Whitebeard. If we leave now, Marine will not be sure to completely eliminate Whitebeard, and this action will also end in failure. The end result is that Whitebeard will not only repel Marine, but will also chase you who fled. Even if you leave Wano Kuni now, your tracks will be reported by the ubiquitous media. Whitebeard will find you soon, and you will. There is no chance to compete with Whitebeard, it will be wiped out soon, and Whitebeard will not continue to let you go. Kirby said. After listening to what Kirby said, Kaido and others were silent, because this is indeed the truth. They leave here, and Whitebeard will definitely not let them go. Even if they want to hide their whereabouts, it is difficult to do, after all. Many people, besides because of the war, I don't know how many people around Wano Kuni watch the excitement. Well, do you think Marine is really capable of destroying Whitebeard? Kaido asked in silence for a while. Kaido is very concerned about this question, because it determines his next actions. They have already fought Whitebeard once before. They have no idea about Whitebeard's combat effectiveness, but if the advertisement. The army really has this ability, 070 they have a chance to eliminate Whitebeard, then their situation will be much better. After all, as soon as Whitebeard died, no one in this world could completely suppress them. Even if Marine came to deal with them later, it was not inconsistent. What do you think? Kaido looked at the ant and the others. Well, this guy's words are worthy of trust. From his appearance, he shouldn't lie to us. If you really have a chance to kill Whitebeard, you must take good care of it. Otherwise, the result will be the same as what he said. Just live a little longer. Only time. Ant said. Well, if that's the case, Then it's decided. Little guy, you can lead the way. Kaido said. Huh, great, I finally convinced them. Kirby breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, he did not lie just now. It was just an exaggeration. Marine did prepare a killer for Whitebeard, but that confidential, general. People don't know what it is, and its power is Kirby's random nonsense. Give you this. Kirby threw a few bags of food at them, which Marine used to replenish their stamina. Kaido and others almost recovered after eating the food, and they walked out of the prison under the leadership of Kirby. Chapter 464. Kaido's Plan. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At this time, the battle between Kawatsu and Drake had just ended. Captain Drake. Kirby called out quickly when Drake was lying on the ground. HMPH, let you fight against us. No, Kaido was released. Ha Song just looked at Kirby triumphantly, and immediately noticed Kaido and others behind him. Kaido and others were all released, and the seastone chains on their bodies were also unfastened. He Song and others had no way to stop them. They could only keep backing away, and finally escaped quickly. Kirby checked Drake lying on the ground and found that he had been seriously injured, but he had not died, so he immediately helped him up. Isn't this Drake? You guys seem to be familiar with it. Kaido has already seen something wrong, and he soon realized that Drake was also Marine, and he had been undercover before. Okay, I didn't expect Drake to hide under my hands for so long. Marine is really amazing. It was able to play such a big game. Kaido said a little displeased. Master Kaido, let's do business first, the most important thing is to deal with Whitebeard. Kirby said. You're right, I would like to settle this account with Drake if I have a chance later. Kaido nodded, and he also prioritized. Next, under the leadership of Kirby, Kaido and others left the Flower Capital all the way to the battlefield of Marine and Whitebeard pirates. When Kirby took Kaido and others into action, several figures had been observing them in the dark. Advertisement. That's Kaido. Mother, Apu said in surprise. Unexpectedly, Kaido and others were released. This must be Marine's plan. It seems that they are planning to unite against Whitebeard. Whitebeard is really dangerous. Urouge also said in surprise. The prophecy is being fulfilled step by step. Hawkins said lightly. Hey, can you continue to test this prediction? Whitebeard isn't really in danger, right? Crocodile grabbed Hawkins by the collar and asked. You guy. Crocodile pretended to beat Hawkins. On the other hand, the frontal battlefield between the Marine and the Whitebeard pirates is in full swing. Relying on powerful weapons, Marine soldiers have exerted a strong combat power, and the Whitebeard pirates are relying on the strong Captain In. Support everywhere, such as Enel, Marco, and Katakuri and other cadres. No, the Whitebeard Sea Pirate Group has its own Marine to deal with. We now have more important tasks. We need to defeat Whitebeard immediately, otherwise all plans will fail. Kirby deliberately said that the situation is very urgent. To oppress Kaido's revenge. Many people in Wano-kuni stood on a high mountain in the distance and watched and saw the Whitebeard pirates fighting with Marine desperately. They were moved. The Whitebeard pirates had just rescued them from Kaido, but now they are facing Marine justice. Yeah, it was shown to deal with Kaido and Auntie, and then Marine attacked. I really don't know what to say. Well, it makes sense. Now Marine's attention is on Whitebeard. I don't think they would have thought that someone would attack the warship. Arp immediately agreed. I think we should help the Whitebeard pirates first. It's better than doing nothing here. Bonnie said. Advertisement. So, Whitebeard isn't in danger. Crocodile stunned. 1. The attack. But after noticing Kaido's idea, Kirby immediately stopped him of Zhao's. Many residents showed a state of enthusiasm. After all, how can a good man not be moved when he sees such a fierce battle? In the face of the Whitebeard pirates, how can they not rush to think for Whitebeard? Effectiveness. Moreover, with Kaido's character, he may not care about Marine's life or death when he starts. I am afraid that there will be a lot of Marines killed and injured by the time, so he feels that Kaido must be prevented from moving. The prediction against Whitebeard has been impossible, and his ability has surpassed my prediction. Hawkins said. Boy, what are you doing? Why are you blocking me? I'm going to help Marine kill the Whitebeard pirates. Kaido said with dissatisfaction. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Desire. When Kaido and others saw this battlefield, their first thought was to go in and make a fuss. After all, before fighting with Whitebeard, first attack a wave of his pirates, which can satisfy Kaido's sense of revenge. I didn't say that. Hawkins shrugged. Advertisement. This is something that all residents don't want to see. They all hope from the bottom of their hearts that the war can end, because war represents death. It is a command that can influence Marine. Okay, it's more important to deal with Whitebeard. Kaido had to give up the idea. However, these ordinary residents can only watch from a distance. They don't have the slightest amount of force. Even if they are close to the battlefield, they may be killed by the aftermath. All they can do is to list Whitebeard as themselves. Lifelong faith. So, under the leadership of Crocodile, they moved quietly toward the coast. They didn't have any complicated plans. They just thought that Marine's battleship should be equivalent to the structure of the battlefield command. However, until now, no one is tired. Everyone is fighting for their own beliefs. Every fallen corpse once held the belief that they must die. Master Whitebeard is the hero of our Wano Kuni. I hope that he will always be the symbol of our Wano Kuni and will always guard us. Marine seems to have brought a lot of warships this time. If we destroy those Marine warships, can we weaken some of the Marine's power? Crocodile said in thought. Kirby knew very well that once Kaido and these people participated in the battlefield, they would defeat the Whitebeard pirates like a massacre. Although Kirby was Marine, he did not want to see such a situation. At this moment, I really seem to be a member of the Whitebeard Lord. Even if I sacrificed heroically in the battle, it would not be a waste of my life. Then you said, what can we do now? Bonnie asked. This time Master Whitebeard came to crusade Kaido, and it really paid a huge price. What do you know? If you rush into the war now, you will probably be exposed to Marine's vision in advance. It's better to hide it in the dark. You can master the overall news, and you can quietly do a lot of things. Crocodile said. Advertisement. Chapter 465. Alliance of Four Emperors and Marine. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Under Kirby's persuasion, Kaido gave up the idea of attacking the Whitebeard pirates. They moved on, and soon they saw the battle between Whitebeard and Akainu and others. A long distance away, Kaido saw Whitebeard under the siege of Akainu and others. However, unlike what Kirby said, Kaido saw that Whitebeard was clearly in the upper hand. It was not the state of Whitebeard being suppressed. Hey, kid, you are lying to us, Whitebeard clearly has the upper hand. These Marine Admiral are not Whitebeard's opponents, and we are not allowed. Kaido shouted angrily immediately. You kids still want to use us, we are definitely not Marine's pawns. Jack also said. Calm down. Look carefully. The many warships on the coast are used to deal with Whitebeard. As long as you cooperate with Marine, you can definitely defeat Whitebeard. Kirby explained. Kaido thought about it seriously. He also saw the new style pacifist on the battlefield just now. Their weapon attacks were indeed very powerful, but Kaido was hesitant to think of the terrible Whitebeard in his heart. How to choose? If you can defeat Whitebeard now, it's good, but if you fail in the end, 070 will be completely finished, but with Marine fighting together, maybe it can attract Whitebeard's attention and save his life in the end. Kaido heart. He started to think about it. In the end, Kaido and the Ant negotiated, and the two decided to fight hard. Finally, they brought the three plagues and the flying six powers forward together. Hey, I finally completed the task. Kirby was relieved to see Kaido and others preparing to participate in the battle. Following these powerful men, his breathing was suppressed, as if he would be killed at any time. I have to quickly send Captain Drake to a safe place to recuperate. Kirby took Drake and left. He did not go to the Marine battleship because it was so close to the battle site and it was full of dangers. He planned to look for one. At the residence. Advertisement. Whitebeard is fighting Akainu and others. By virtue of the Haki domain, Whitebeard is suppressing Akainu and others, and several of them have been avoiding their edge and dare not directly fight Whitebeard. Therefore, this battle against Whitebeard is watching. Go up. Very funny. Because the initiator of the battle has been evading and unable to fight Whitebeard, what makes Whitebeard strange is that these people are neither their own opponents, and why they have been delaying time, and they have not used any warships to attack. What are they preparing for? Just as Whitebeard had a question, the next moment he saw Kaido and others, and the question was solved instantly. So, Marine, it's an alliance with Kaido. Whitebeard's eyes narrowed slightly. These two guys actually dared to fight themselves. Where did they get the courage? Kaido and the ant's huge body gradually came. When they were close enough, Kaido suddenly transformed into a dragon form. The huge body hovered in the air, and soon flew over, spitting out a dragon directly towards Whitebeard. Interest. A powerful stream of heat flame spurted from Kaido's mouth, and the hot temperature instantly heated the air. Under the attack of this stream of heat, Whitebeard had to retreat, and then he raised his hand and shook, and the powerful force was invisible. Space produces giant. The big impact shook the dragon's breath away instantly. Whitebeard used the power of the earthquake to shake the dragon's breath everywhere, falling from the sky like a celestial flower, but now the entire ground is covered by magma, and only the ground that Fujitora has stepped on is still intact. Huh. The ant stepped on her own cloud and rushed over. After entering Whitebeard's hockey domain, her performance was stronger than those of Admiral. After all, compared with 4 emperors, Admiral's physical strength was still worse. Advertisement. These 4 emperors 51 are not natural strong men. Their bodies can withstand ABFB, the pressure that is unimaginable. Although they have suffered some resistance, the ant still swiftly impacted in front of Whitebeard, punching directly, and burst out. Strong force. Linlin, it's incredible. Do you still dare to fight me? It seems that the previous lessons are not enough. Whitebeard shook his head and said, and at the same time created a shock barrier in front of him, completely blocking the ant's attack. Ants. Fist Jin also exploded in the air. Who makes you distrust us? We can't help it. The ant said immediately. Don't talk nonsense, you can add it up. Let's all go together, and see how far you can push me. Whitebeard's aura was full, and he didn't care about the surrounding situation. And Akainu and others were a bit stunned when they saw Kaido and the ant's sudden appearance. After regaining their consciousness, Akainu quickly said, Today you cooperate with Marine to eliminate Whitebeard. The Marine government can give you a comeback chance. Quote, no problem, we are in the same boat now, Kaido said. Then, Kaido exploded once again with a strong dragon's breath, spitting out a wide range as if to completely cover Whitebeard. At the same time, several other people used their own tricks to cooperate with the attack, only Kizaru jumped and used 8. Chichong Guyu. Countless balls of light shot out. Advertisement. Fujitora drew a half-cut knife and swung it towards Whitebeard's gap, instantly sending out a slash full of gravity, and the direction of gravity was still horizontal. Akainu turned the whole person into a magma body, and the palms gathered together to send out a pillar of magma, while the ant summoned her own trick, fire in the sky, and a large amount of flames fell from the sky. All the attacks were gathered together, all of them attacked Whitebeard. Facing such a fierce offensive, Whitebeard did not dare to rush. He immediately opened his shock power barrier, and at the same time gathered a group of blue light ball, right hand. Gathered a large amount of invisible icy air. Huh, you guys should try my trick too. Whitebeard said coldly, while simultaneously throwing the prepared trick with his left and right hands. Currency weight. Thunder Gen. Ice Burst. Combining the power of thunder and lightning with the power of shaking as the trick of the left hand, and combining the power of ice cold with the power of shaking as the trick of the right hand. The two great tricks are instantly thrown out and collide with the opponent's attack. For a time, the central location where all the tricks converge burst out with a powerful impact, and all the forces exploded in the collision, and with the superposition of these powers, continuous fluctuations and shocks also occurred. Chapter 466. Luffy's Actions. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The power of magma, the power of fire, the power of ice cold, the power of shock. This space has withstood too much power for a time, and it seems that it will be burst at any time. The terrifying aura continued to spread, and one after another force exploded in the center, just like the explosive reaction in the center of the sun, and countless small explosions would be produced in an instant. This shock also shook everyone away, but a lot of shocks were directed to the ground below Whitebeard. This also caused the entire ground below to be destroyed by the impact, forming a cylindrical deep pit with a radius of more than 10 meters, and it was not bottomed, and soon this deep pit was also filled with magma. The top powerhouses in these worlds are all gathered together, and their unique tricks seem to explode the sky just like a hole. And this shock produced powerful noises and vibrations, as if an earthquake and countless explosives were superimposed to produce a rumbling sound. This movement instantly attracted the attention of the main battlefield. Marine and the Whitebeard pirates were fighting fiercely, but they suddenly suffered this shock, and everyone heard the loud noise from a distance. For a while, everyone's movements stopped. All of them didn't know what happened, but everyone was curious. It was such a strong shock that was definitely a very powerful trick. This kind of trick is probably enough to determine the outcome of the battle, so everyone has to care about it. However, the people of the Whitebeard Pirates group obviously have a better mentality. In their cognition, such a powerful force can only be caused by Whitebeard, because it is impossible for anyone except Whitebeard to burst out such a force. Advertisement. As that dad's power. Has he defeated Marines Marshal and Admiral? It seems that this battle has been decided. Marco muttered to himself while looking into the distance, but even if he flew it's so high, you can't see Whitebeard. Waiting for someone to fight. But this rumbling sound can be heard from such a long distance, one can imagine how terrifying the scene is. Even if a strong man approaches rashly, it is probably only the end of the dust. This is the clarion call for victory. Please work up your spirits and defeat Marine as soon as possible. Joes shouted loudly, and everyone in the Whitebeard pirate group fought harder, while Marine was declining a lot and continued. Forced to retreat by the Whitebeard pirates. However, this explosion also blows Crocodile and others to the sea. The group of them originally detoured to the coast, but suddenly received this shock. Everyone could not withstand this pressure. Blow out. Go. During this period, Luffy swelled his body in time, grabbed everyone, and floated above the sea. Damn, it's too dangerous. Is this Whitebeard's power? It feels stronger than Kaido. Apu sighed. He felt that they were far enough away from Whitebeard, but they were still affected. It's really dangerous, it's almost dead. If we really die, there's really no place to reason. Bonnie said frightened. All of them are holding Luffy's body at this time, but they can only float in the air. What should we do now? It's impossible to keep floating. Urouge asked. Luffy, can't you control the direction? Go back immediately. Nami said to Luffy. Advertisement. It can be, but you have to hold on to me. With that, Luffy immediately adjusted his direction, and then quickly exhaled the gas in his body, advancing in the opposite direction like a deflated balloon. Ah! But the result was good. Everyone finally returned to the coast. After returning to the coast, they began to rest in place. Hey, it was originally to deal with the marine battleship, but now, everyone has received the impact, and the next action is probably going to be nullified. Apu said helplessly. The shock just now was too intense, and basically everyone was injured, so the current state is definitely not enough to support them to dive into the marine battleship. I'm okay. There is no harm. Let me go next. It will be easier to sneak in if there are few people. Crocodile said. Since it was Logia's body, just the shock was not enough to hurt him, and after he finished speaking, Luffy also stood up immediately. Zero look for flowers. Shazao. Let's be together. I'm fine. Luffy said with a smile. Once the action is formulated, Luffy must execute it, not to mention his rubber body feels no pain. Therefore, afterwards, Crocodile and Luffy acted alone. As for the others, they retreated slowly, and they couldn't stay here and wait forever. After all, this kind of impact would still occur at any time. Crocodile disguised as sand and took Luffy forward. They successfully escaped the scanning of those warships, and finally sneaked into one of the warships. Advertisement. 0.0. Crocodile used his fruit ability to stun all the personnel on the battleship. With the ability of sand, he was able to cover people's mouths in an instant and prevent them from making any noises. After solving everyone, Crocodile came to the control room on the battleship, where he can see the control buttons of various weapons, and can also observe the picture in front of the battleship, that is, the Battle of Whitebeard and Akainu, but some mold. Paste. Luffy, come here. Crocodile shouted while staring at the screen. After shouting for a while, no one responded. Crocodile looked back and found that Luffy was no longer visible. This guy, where did you go? Crocodile was a little helpless. He wanted to let Luffy go, but worried that Luffy would cause Marine's alarm, so he could only return to find Luffy. At this time, Luffy happily felt around on the second floor of the battleship, just like shopping. Many weapon systems on the battleship are folded here. Once the switch is turned on, it can be extended to the outside of the battleship to attack the enemy. Luffy had never seen these weird weapons. He seemed to be watching him like a countryman who had just entered the city, with gold stars appearing in his eyes. Wow, what a powerful weapon, so rich, Marine is really amazing. Luffy sighed while watching. Luffy, your kid was here. Crocodile's unhappy voice suddenly came. She. Chapter 467. Biological Weapons. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Luffy continued to play with these equipment like a okay person. While playing, he said, Crocodile, come here, there are a lot of weapons and equipment here, is the marine battleship so powerful? I really want to launch it and try it out. You guy, when is the time? You still want to play? Go back with me right away. You can see Whitebeard's battle scene in the control room. Crocodile said to Luffy impatiently. After that, Crocodile is about to grab Luffy and leave here, but once Luffy becomes interested in something, it is not so easy to compromise. Oh, wait a minute, I want to continue watching here for a while, don't be so anxious. Luffy continued his play. Crocodile was also full of black lines about it. Luffy was so careless that he wanted to beat him. He had a meal. But considering the 070 to Luffy's current strength, Crocodile had to give up this idea. He had to observe some of these weapons with Luffy. After careful observation, Crocodile was also a little surprised, because these weapons are not simple artillery or explosives, but contain various elements, such as weapons with ice elements, weapons with fire elements, and thunder. Elemental weapons, and in addition to these, there is another weapon that Crocodile cares about. You walk away, you don't know the terrible part of this weapon. It is subtle but ubiquitous. The above introduction says that once exposed to the air, it can enter the human body through breathing, and those small creatures can be in the human body. In the blood and tissues. Kaido and Auntie, they are here, haven't they been defeated? Crocodile was surprised when he saw Kaido and Auntie. Advertisement. What Crocodile didn't know was that this was Marine's secret plan for Aokiji. It was like instigating Whitebeard's son. Now Marine wants to instigate Aokiji again. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Biological weapons are terrible. Crocodile doesn't know much about it, but he has been able to understand its terrible aspects through the introduction. It can create diseases and infectious diseases. However, this also proved Marine's determination to deal with Whitebeard, but this level of menacingness really made Crocodile feel sick. Other people, then infected one by one, and finally killed everyone. Yeah, they should have been locked up by Whitebeard. Were they rescued by Marine? Luffy said curiously. Is it so terrible? But what should you do if you destroy it and cause an alarm? There must be this kind of weapon on other warships. It is useless if we only destroy one. Luffy said. Suddenly, the radio in the control room rang. It was a special channel. It seemed to be talking about some plan, and it was still using a special password. Crocodile didn't understand it either. And this weapon can be transmitted through contact between people, which is why Crocodile insists on destroying, because it says that any treatment effect is ineffective, and the recruits are dead, and they can continue to be infected even after death. Does Marine use poison? Crocodile felt a little ironic. This kind of weapon would endanger the innocent and would seriously damage the environment. Now, in order to deal with Whitebeard, Marine even has to use such a weapon. Advertisement. Crocodile, what are you doing? Why do you want to destroy it? Luffy asked, while standing in front of Crocodile. Destroy as much as you like, and any defense is ineffective, and there is only a dead end in the end. Crocodile said with a serious face. Crocodile intends to destroy the pipeline with sand, then take out the objects in it, wrap it with sand all the way, and finally throw it into the furnace on the battleship, so that the weapon can be completely wiped out. However, when Crocodile shot, Luffy immediately stopped him. After all, Aokiji originally belonged to Marine, and there should still be some feelings for Marine, so it should be relatively easy to instigate rebellion. After reading the introduction of this weapon of death attack, Crocodile was stunned in an instant, and his face suddenly became sluggish, because the level of horror of this weapon was beyond his imagination. So, Luffy and Crocodile sat down peacefully in this control room, and they looked at Whitebeard in the picture with ease. Death rose. Crocodile felt a little weird when he heard the name. He immediately came to Luffy's side, and then he saw this special weapon. The quantities are basically gathered together, mutually exclusive, and it is not clear whose part it is. You are really smart this time. Marine must have rescued them, and then the two sides formed an alliance to fight Whitebeard together, Crocodile said. Advertisement. Little bug. Crocodile shook his head dully. After a while, He suddenly sanded his fist, and then prepared to destroy the enclosed weapon with a punch. Let's look at the situation after 5.1 first. Crocodile said, any rash actions now may be counterproductive. Because Whitebeard was the closest to the center of the explosion at the time, and because of the large number of tricks, his lightning shock and ice burst were moved a little bit. In other words, Whitebeard was more affected by his own tricks, but these force. In the picture, Whitebeard, Akainu and others remain motionless. They are all alleviating the impact they have just endured. Among them, Whitebeard is the one who has suffered the most impact. Is this marine going to wipe out the entire human race? Crocodile said with a shocked face. He had no idea that marine would be so vicious. These words also awakened Crocodile. Yes, it may also be on other warships. We can't expose it now, we can only destroy Zero later. At this time, Luffy suddenly let out a surprised voice. Wow, what kind of weapon is this? It looks so powerful. Is it called Death Rosé? Luffy was a little curious about Crocodile's shock. He didn't understand the ferocity of this weapon. He just muttered, is this really so powerful? It shouldn't be like this, isn't it just some small bugs? Crocodile walked to a slotted weapon, and the label attached to it read, Biochemical Weapon Poisonous Mist. What should we do now? Luffy asked. Crocodile returned to the control room with Luffy with a heavy heart. The puppet once again looked at the picture on the screen. The picture was very blurred because of the impact of the explosion of smoke, but it is much better now and clearer. Advertisement. Chapter 468. Instigate Aokiji. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As the plan finally starting. At the beginning of Aokiji's operation, Marine's rear troops used special weapons to create a large amount of white fog. Under this white fog, everyone's field of vision became much narrower, and the visibility was basically less than 5 meters. The level of Major Marine and above are all equipped with special eyes, which can clearly see everything in the white mist. In this way, with the instigation of the Aokiji plan, Marine also used this to launch a counterattack. As the white mist gradually spread to the entire battlefield, the Whitebeard pirates clearly began to feel uncomfortable. Many people in the Whitebeard pirate group were attacked in the white mist, and everyone began to panic. As the overall commander, Marco flapped his huge wings to disperse the white mist, but can only guarantee one's own zone. The domain is clear. Aokiji's gaze flickered, and he immediately said, you guys created the white fog for this purpose. Let's talk about it. I'm close to 070 to say something. Aokiji, former Marine Admiral, how are you? This figure stopped after appearing in front of Aokiji, and greeted enthusiastically. Advertisement. Then you and I are enemies now, what do you want to do when you rush into our square? Aokiji asked in a deep voice. Damn it too. Marco couldn't bear it, and he slammed directly down from the sky, covering his whole body with the flame of immortality and armament hockey. Marco used his body as an attack and directly hit the head of the pacifist. Superior. Do you feel sad for life and death? Aokiji replied indifferently. Said. Green Bull had way mi with his eyes. He knew that what Aokiji said must be false. He deliberately used this indifferent statement to cover up his inner fluctuations. However, before the retreat, Enel was injured by the Green Bull. Almost as soon as the white mist enveloped him, the Green Bull took the opportunity to rush up and directly broke a few of Enel's helper bones. A trace of fluctuation, this corpse all over the ground may have your former subordinates. Green Bull said earnestly, with a more serious tone. After Enel was injured, he couldn't fly, so he could only be supported by someone to retreat. In his situation, he could no longer participate in the war. These words also impacted Aokiji's heart without suspense, because he really cares about this situation. His time as Marine Admiral is not too short, and he has some affection for the cadres who work under him. Hey, what should we do now? Can we only retreat temporarily? Marco hesitated and decided to command everyone to retreat for a certain distance. The people of the Whitebeard pirate group began to retreat quickly, and Marine immediately began to chase, and the pacifists were able to ignore the influence of the white fog, and continued to chase the Whitebeard pirate group in the rear, continuously emitting light, and hitting a lot of them. Personnel. Advertisement. If this is the case, then I'm straight to the point. Although you have left the Marine government, you should still have old feelings about the Marine government. To be honest, now the Marine and the Whitebeard pirates have broken out of this kind of war, your heart is no. On the battlefield, he is still cultivating. And when the two sides were fighting in the white mist, a figure quickly passed through the crowd, and it was so fast that the figure could not be seen clearly. This figure did not attack anyone on the way, but moved tightly. His target flashed away. Are you the new Marine Admiral? Aokiji asked lightly. In order to deal with Whitebeard this time, Marine dispatched such a large number of teams, which must include his former subordinates. Those people should also be Rear Admiral or Vice Admiral on their own. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. However, the weakness of the pacifist is also in his program. It is said that the pacifist will also take the initiative to protect his weakness. Therefore, under the deliberate protection of the pacifist, Marco did not find anything next. Chance. And once Marco stopped, the continuous white fog would immediately spread around. Seeing that there were people in the Whitebeard pirate group being attacked, Marco was also a little anxious. Don't be so indifferent. Although it is an enemy, it has belonged to the same unit anyway. There is still a feeling of saying a few words. Besides, this white mist is enough to block everyone's sight. It is impossible for others to notice us. Green Bull smiled. No, is this white mist also moving? Marco couldn't help but wonder. At the same time, he flew to a higher place and observed the state of the white mist. Soon he discovered that it was these rear ones. Marine was blowing the white mist forward. The two sides fought again. Those ordinary Marine soldiers did not have exclusive glasses. They also lost a bit of combat effectiveness in the white fog. And because Marines' weapons are firearms or something, in this case, they may also be accidental injury. Advertisement. What you said has nothing to do with me. From the moment first left the Marine government, I have nothing to do with Marine. Besides, I have joined the Whitebeard pirates. I am now playing for the Whitebeard pirates. How could it be for the enemy? To the friendly army, so he didn't dare to open fire easily. 01 Marco wants to find a solution, but unfortunately Enel, Aokiji, etc., their ability cannot dispel the white fog, and it seems that only Tesla has this method among the people Marco can think of, but Tesla not at this time. Stop retreating. Marco immediately ordered after understanding the principle, so the Whitebeard pirate group stopped again, and under Marco's command, they began to attack the pursuing Marine in reverse. Hey, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Green Bull. First entered Marine through the world conscription of the Marine government and became Marine Admiral. Green Bull said without concealment. HMPH, let you go this time. Marco saw that Marine's pursuit troops had come one after another, so he didn't get entangled with the pacifists, so he continued to fly into the air, and then kept blocking the Marine pursuit troops from the air. Everyone, listen to my order and immediately retreat 10 miles. Marco issued the order and everyone began to retreat. Under Marco's resistance, Marine's pursuit speed also slowed down, but to Marco's surprise, they still did not escape the range of the white mist after a period of continuous retreat. This hard material also made Marco feel a pain, but to his surprise, he actually saw a crack on the pacifist's head. As the weakness in the head, Marco understood this in an instant, and began to strike at the head of the pacifist. Advertisement. Chapter 469. Aokiji Rebellion. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Well, since you can no longer care about your old friendship, can I ask you a few more questions? Why did you join the Whitebeard pirates? Green Bull continued to ask. Although the action to instigate Aokiji this time seems simple, in fact Green Bull is well prepared. Even if it fails to persuade Aokiji to return to Marine, there are other ways to deal with him. Are these important to you? No one cared about what I thought when I was Admiral. Now that I am a pirate, does it make you take it seriously? Aokiji laughed at himself. Don't care about this, the Marine government needs you very much now. If you can return to the Marine government, then you must have the opportunity to be Marine Marshal. Green Bull said in accordance with Akainu's request. Because of Red. The dog knows that Aokiji has always wanted to be Marine Marshal, so that he can instill his own ideas. However, Aokiji didn't react much. He just said faintly, Marshal Marine. You guys really talk nonsense in order to win me over. Now Akainu is a Marshal Marine, but it's legitimately hot. Regarding Green Bull's words, Aokiji didn't believe it at all, because it was completely impossible. Akainu was not wrong. It is impossible for him to be removed from his position as marshal, so he can't set up two marine marshals at once. Aokiji, you don't know this. Do you know why Marshal Akainu is eager to start this war? Because he is already sick, a very serious chronic disease, and soon, he will suffer from the disease and die. Any medical treatment means are invalid. So, Akainu knows that his deadline is coming, so he wants to attack the Whitebeard pirates before he is dying. He wants to fulfill his wishes and achievements while he is still in power. Green Bull said. Advertisement. Hearing this, Aokiji was silent for a while, but he was still dubious. It is not impossible to say that Akainu is sick. Hard to believe. If Akainu leaves this world, then the marine government needs to determine a new marine marshal. Among the current admirals, Kizaru has no leadership ability, and Fujitora and I both became admiral through the world conscription. We have no qualifications at all. Think about it, this is exactly why the marine government needs you. Aokiji, you have the strength and qualifications. As long as you are willing to return to the marine government, the position of Marshal Marine will be yours. Green Bull continued. I have to say that this really made Aokiji a little heart-shaped, because as long as he can become Marine Marshal, then he can give full play to his subjective initiative, fully implement his own strategy, and use various methods to slow down Marine and Marine. The contradiction of the pirates reduces the war. Aokiji still has his own grand blueprint in his heart. This is also his ideal. However, he is now a member of the Whitebeard pirates, and it is not easy to quit. Why should I trust you? Aokiji asked again. Isn't it easy? Just go back with me, everyone can prove this. Green Bull said immediately. Okay, I promise you, I quit the Whitebeard pirates, there is no need to prove it, what do I need to do now? Aokiji said directly, and his direct and decisive withdrawal from the Whitebeard pirates made the Green Bull a little surprised. No, did you persuade Aokiji so smoothly? No, is it a scam? Probably not. Aokiji doesn't seem to be a swindler, and it doesn't make much sense to him. Green Bull immediately raised some questions in his heart. Advertisement. But then he figured it out for himself. Ha ha ha. Great, then I should congratulate you. This time as long as you can participate in our action against Whitebeard, then you will get the first marvelous achievement in this operation, and Akainu will almost abdicate after returning. Then you will come. Lead Marine. Green Bull said. Do you deal with Whitebeard? Okay. No problem. Take me over right away. Aokiji said flatly. This process went too smoothly. Although Green Bull had some doubts in his mind, he still relaxed a little on Aokiji. Okay. Let's go together. Green Bull said happily. Now, one of the two high-end combat powers in the Whitebeard pirate group, one Enel has been injured by him, and the other Qingshong has now been persuaded to surrender. This battlefield basically doesn't need much. So the Green Bull took Aokiji and left the battlefield immediately. Their figures quickly walked through the white fog, which was indeed noticed by Marco. What's that? A very familiar figure. Marco said with some confusion. He didn't see the figure in the past, but he always felt familiar in his heart. The figure that can move at such a fast speed is definitely not the one. Waiting for you, this current. As far as the Whitebeard pirates is concerned, they can definitely be counted. Advertisement. And this figure had left from the range of their Whitebeard pirate group, it was unlikely to be an enemy, so Marco immediately went back to find out what was missing. Under Marco's investigation, it was soon discovered that Aokiji was missing. Marco couldn't believe it, and a natural guess appeared in his mind. How is it possible that Aokiji has rebelled? Is he going to return to Marine? Marco guessed incredulously. Although Aokiji has been in the Whitebeard pirates for more than 2 years, few people know Aokiji except Whitebeard. Think. Law. That guy usually doesn't talk very much, and basically doesn't often confide his thoughts with everyone. Therefore, when this Zhao's guess idea appeared in Marco's mind, he even felt that there was a possibility. Damn it, Aokiji, you must not disappoint. Marco said nervously. He can only hope that Aokiji will attack Marine instead of relying on Marine. The battle in the white mist continued, but it was not so fierce. While Marco was worried about these things, he did not stop his fighting. He had attacked many Marine troops in the air along the way. On the other hand, the battlefield between Whitebeard and Akainu was enveloped in gunpowder smoke. The previous huge explosion made everyone have to alleviate, but now, their battle has resumed. Whitebeard relieved his flight status, and he returned to the ground. It was a bit of a disadvantage for him to face so many strong siege in the air, but it was not so difficult on the ground. Chapter 470. Aokiji Green Bull participates in the battle. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Akainu, Kizaru, Fujitora, Kaido, Auntie, Jack, Quinn, and Jin surrounded Kaido in the middle, and all of them looked at Whitebeard. Especially Kaido. He and his aunt are basically broke. Whitebeard's hatred for them has also increased a lot at this time, and the flying 6 cells he brought before have all fallen in the impact of the explosion. The 5 people of the flying 6 powers were seriously injured, and died. Although their status is not as good as the 3 plagues, there are also people who can fight well. They are all time-consuming training, which cannot help but make Kaido feel heartache. It doesn't matter. As long as this defeats Whitebeard, I can seize his territory and reabsorb talents to build a larger imperial empire. Kaido comforted himself in his heart. Guhahaha. So many of you, why don't you still do it? Whitebeard suddenly laughed, because he saw these people besieging him, which one was not the strong one, and at this time they all showed fierce resentment. Color. But not. It made Whitebeard a little funny if he dared to attack on his own initiative. Huh, Kaido. You must attack first, we will cover you. Akainu snorted to Whitebeard first, and then began to command Kaido and the ant. Akainu's condescending tone made Kaido and the ant very unhappy. After all, although they have an alliance agreement, they do not belong to the marine government. They naturally disdain this order. Advertisement. Why let us go first? Do you want to use us as cannon fodder or a shield? Kaido replied sarcastically. Now is the critical time. You'd better listen to my command, or everyone will suffer in the end. Akainu hated iron and steel. Huh, let alone those useless. Even if we believe in you, you are not capable of making tactical arrangements that can defeat Whitebeard. It's fine for everyone to fight separately. Kaido said. This guy, damn it. Akainu couldn't help clenching his fists, and cursed Kaido 10,000 times in his heart. Hey ha ha ha, it seems that there is something wrong inside. To be honest, if you are so many strong people, if you really cooperate with the perfect clothes, I am afraid it will also cause a lot of pressure on me. I am really worried that you can do that step. Whitebeard laughed. Whitebeard, don't be too proud, today is your death date. At this time, a voice came from a distance, and then 2 figures gradually appeared in the eyes of everyone. When Whitebeard saw ABFB, one of the 2 figures, his face was also a little confused, because one of them was Aokiji. Aokiji. It's strange, how could he be with Marine's people? Is it here to deal with me? Whitebeard was puzzled in his heart. Aokiji and Green Bull soon came to everyone, and joined the siege of Whitebeard together. The words just now were released by Green Bull. Aokiji, long time no see, you are welcome to rejoin Marine. After Akainu saw Aokiji appear here, he understood that Green Bull had successfully persuaded him to surrender him, and immediately responded with a friendly smile. Well, I hope everyone will get what they want in the end. Aokiji nodded and said lightly. Advertisement. Haha. Aokiji, you are back to Marine again, this is great, now there are 2 more Admiral, can't this lineup still beat Whitebeard? Kizaru was also excited. What a gratifying thing, now Marine has 4 Admiral. Fujitora also said. Ha 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 ha. Whitebeard, I didn't expect your subordinates betrayed you again. I can't help but think of the scene when you were attacked by your subordinates during the war. Kaido couldn't help laughing. Yes, yeah, Whitebeard, your subordinates will always betray you at critical moments. The ant also sneered. Because of the new addition of 2 Admiral, this lineup basically made everyone feel stable, so Kaido and the ant were bold and brazen in front of Whitebeard, as if they were taking revenge on him. And Whitebeard's gaze was always staring at Aokiji. He didn't care what other people said, but kept thinking about why Aokiji would do this. After contacting Aokiji for so long, Whitebeard still has confidence in him. Looking at the state of Aokiji, it is not like being controlled by Marine using some means. He is normal and natural, but Whitebeard believes that Aokiji will not betray him, so after thinking and thinking, there is only one reason that Whitebeard can think of, and that is green. The pheasant did this deliberately. He pretended to join Marine, and then looked for a chance to deal with Akainu. Aokiji has always wanted to decide the outcome with Akainu, this Whitebeard is very clear. Aokiji, I used this adventurous way to remind me to leave Akainu to you. It seems that you really believe me, and do not worry about my wrong judgment and act against you. Whitebeard shook his head. I think Aokiji is true to myself. It is complete trust. Advertisement. Since Aokiji believes in himself so much, how can Whitebeard live up to Aokiji's trust? Of course, he has to cooperate with Aokiji to continue the performance, and finally leave Akainu to Aokiji to deal with and resolve their grievances. Guhahaha. Aokiji, I didn't expect you to betray me, but I treat you very well. Whitebeard laughed and then said to Aokiji with a cold expression. I have always been from Marine. I'm sorry, we can only be enemies. Aokiji said lightly. Ha 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 ha. Whitebeard, you are really pitiful. Aokiji, you did a good job. After eliminating Whitebeard this time, you will be the first class, the glory of the entire Marine government, just like Garp. Akainu mocked Whitebeard. Afterwards to Aokiji. Agree. After talking so much, I still can't open the fight, it's better than I go first. Green Bull has almost lost interest in their conversation, and he has never fought with Whitebeard before, so now seeing Whitebeard, he shows strong expressions. Desire to fight. After all, as a strong man, after seeing a stronger opponent than himself, who doesn't want to fight with him, after all, Green Bull rushed towards Whitebeard. In terms of physical skills, Green Bull is just like its name. Very powerful in strength, simple and rude. This guy, I really can't hold his breath. Akainu thought to himself, but he thought it was a good thing. Someone needs to take the lead. Huh, the guy who hasn't eaten Whitebeard's loss is really reckless. Kaido commented in his heart. However, these people wanted to return. They all attacked at the same time after the Green Bull took the shot. It collapsed instantly. Chapter 471. Besieged Whitebeard. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Whitebeard immediately unfolded the Tremor's barrier, which not only blocked the Green Bull's attack, but also offset each other with gravity. Then, Whitebeard lifted a kick and kicked the Green Bull directly out of the sky with lightning speed, and then Whitebeard swung the big knife again, and a blade followed the direction where the Green Bull flew out. This set of movements was so fluent, that Green Bull didn't even have the time to react, and a bloodstain was cut out on his body by the knife that followed immediately. Damn it, is it so strong? Green Bull was a little shocked. It was just a face-to-face, and it was actually injured. What a shame. Green Bull, be careful, don't be tentative about Whitebeard. Akainu reminded. I know. Green Bull nodded. He felt that he was really careless just now, and he took Whitebeard as an ordinary opponent for a tentative attack. The attacks of other people gathered here towards Whitebeard. Green Bull saw an amazing scene when he recovered his wounds. The strong dragon's breath, lava flow, huge flames, piercing ice, 8-foot jade, etc. Dazzling trick. Overlaid on Whitebeard's area almost at the same time. All of these tricks taken out alone can shock one party, but now they are all added together, bursting out with greater power, just to attack one person. Advertisement. Whitebeard, can he really withstand such a great power? Is he a god? Green Bull couldn't help but sigh. After a while, his injury recovered. Green Bull couldn't help possessing the power of a bull, and also related to plants, his life. The power is also extremely strong, otherwise how could it be called a monster? In addition to these tricks, there are also a large number of explosives and biochemical weapons issued by Quinn, some small-scale poisons, which makes the entire battlefield seem chaotic, and the area of Whitebeard is full of various colors. Red, magma flames and so on, as well as green poison, golden light, white ice. However, at the moment when all the attacks formed a siege, Whitebeard's shocking power completely erupted. This is the moment when he has released his shocking power to the limit in history, and countless strands seem to shake the space. The broken power from Baihu. The child's body is released in all directions. The strong vibration seems to be able to distort the space. It not only blocks all the attacking tricks, but also keeps these powers moving backwards. The explosions and shocks produced by those tricks are all blocked by the impermeable shock force, and constantly shaking outwards. Under such circumstances, all the shocks can only spread to the outside, and thousands of meters in radius are affected by this strong shock. Although most of the land here is plain, there are also some hills, and at the same time in this range, there is a factory. However, under such power, whether it is a factory or a mountain, all are wiped out under this impact. As long as everything protruding from the ground, it is all flattened by the impact, and the entire ground becomes bare, all plants and also all instantly lost their vitality. Advertisement. Not only that, under the rebound of Whitebeard's huge shaking force, the surrounding ground also became torn apart. A large amount of magma flowed under the cracks in the ground. At the same time, the magma encountered flames and ice and produced a lot of steam. Everyone of the view is obscured by the steam. Under this shock, everyone except Whitebeard tried their best to resist this force, but it also consumed a lot of their physical strength. However, Akainu felt that it was all worthwhile, because just now the outbreak also let the beard consumes a lot of power. In addition, the scope of this shock is extremely large, and it has also affected the battlefield between Marine and the Whitebeard pirates. Fortunately, the Whitebeard pirates retreated a certain distance before, and the impact was slightly less, while the Marine's rear troops suffered heavy losses. Marine's rear troops were mostly equipped and technological troops, but they were completely destroyed under the impact just now. As for the warships on the coast, they are even closer to the impact, and the impact is naturally more serious. However, those warships have protective systems, and they all turned on the energy shields in the first place, and because the distances of the warships are relatively close, the energy shields can also be superimposed on each other, this time avoiding damage to the warships. Zero look for flowers. However, the loss is certain. The external weapons and equipment on many warships were destroyed, and some warships were knocked over by the waves caused by the impact. Crocodile and Luffy's battleships were in better positions, but they still received a lot of shock. At that time, Crocodile opened the energy shield for the first time, and then they felt that the entire battleship was shaking. This terrible impact made Crocodile and Luffy both feel terrified. So many powerful men besieged Whitebeard. This is the first time Crocodile has seen this scene. Advertisement. And I am afraid that this kind of scene may not be able to be replicated in the future. Crocodile's heart was completely shocked. When the impact was completely over, the two people slowly calmed down, and they all looked at the picture on the screen dumbfounded. Under the impact, Whitebeard was unharmed, but Akainu and others received a lot of impact, and they all panted violently. 0.0. It's terrible. With this terrifying power, we don't need to worry about Whitebeard's safety at all. Crocodile clenched his fist and hammered on the table. Crocodile now remembered that Hawkins' predictions that Whitebeard was betrayed should refer to Aokiji, and this is the scene of the unimaginable siege. However, the impact on Whitebeard is still limited. Crocodile is only funny when I think of it now. Hawkins' prediction seems to make people feel that Whitebeard is in a dangerous situation, but this is completely Whitebeard's stage, everyone is watching. He showed his abilities. Now, in addition to Crocodile and others, all other warships can see the picture of this battle. As a result, I am afraid that the image of Whitebeard in the hearts of these Marines is more than just the word pirate. Can be generalized. The Admiral and Marshal of their Marines' highest combat power, plus 2-4 Emperor's characters, etc., such a powerful combination of combat power, but still cannot defeat Whitebeard, then the consequence is that the name of Whitebeard is in the hearts of these people. Vice Admiral as exist like a god, or in the hearts of these Marines, their Marine Admiral is not so tall. She. Chapter 472. Terrible Whitebeard. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. A piece of hot scorched black and torn apart the broad surface, everywhere is full of the smell of gunpowder smoke, the air is filled with all kinds of breath. After the explosion of the powerful shocking power just now, Whitebeard's power has also been consumed a lot, but compared to others, Whitebeard's state is much better. Akainu and others suffered considerable damage from the impact just now. Their clothes were all damaged and looked very embarrassed. At least in terms of the clothes, Whitebeard still remained very intact. There is still no way to destroy Whitebeard with such a powerful force. It seems that I can only use weapons. Akainu panted and thought in his heart. However, Akainu, the biological weapon against Whitebeard, does not want to use it now, because once the biological weapon is used, it is really dead or alive, and everyone present at the scene will be affected. As long as you can suppress Whitebeard, then fire a weapon against Whitebeard alone, and finally destroy the absolute high temperature here, you can completely cut off the infection. Akainu thought to himself. However, the reality is cruel, and the combined forces they have just used by so many powerful people can't suppress Whitebeard, and Akainu also feels a touch of despair. Akainu, what about your marine weapons? Don't you have a lot of weapons? Use everything as soon as possible. Kaido was also anxious at this time and began to shout to Akainu. Advertisement. Kaido and the ant knew in their hearts that if Whitebeard could not be killed or defeated this time, they would have a miserable end afterwards. Therefore, Kaido held the belief that Whitebeard must be defeated. It's just that Whitebeard's performance just now caused Kaido's heart to fall to the bottom. Who would have thought that so many powerful people in the world would not be able to defeat Whitebeard head-on, and the result of this battle has become confusing and confusing. The ambiguous ending is not acceptable to Kaido, so he can only urge Marine to use all his whole cards. They must defeat Whitebeard here. Don't worry, we naturally still have whole cards. Whitebeard is also consuming a lot now. Let's take this opportunity to adjust and recover. Akainu said immediately. He must calm Kaido and others' mood, otherwise these two guys pick up. It's over if you quit. Really, I don't know what the whole card is, but it must be effective against Whitebeard. Kaido said. Marshal, shall we use that now? Green Bull asked in fright. Don't worry, the death rose is not easy to use, at least it must be used when Whitebeard is completely suppressed, otherwise we will have to bury Whitebeard. Akainu replied. It's so beautiful that Whitebeard can actually resist this step. I thought that so many of us would definitely be able to defeat him. How strong he is, and where is his limit? Kizaru was a little broken at this time, and he was almost lost. The desire to fight. Hope. Facing this kind of monster is a torture to the human spirit. The old man is really knowledgeable today. I am afraid that the entire world has never been born such a strong man before. Fujitora also said in amazement. Advertisement. This is not the time to praise Whitebeard, we have to cheer up. The ant couldn't help but shouted. When these people are resting, Whitebeard is also recovering. His recovery ability is far above everyone. It seems that Akainu and others have the advantage, but they are actually at a loss. After a short while, Whitebeard was almost back to his peak state. Facing these exhausted opponents, Whitebeard laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha, how is your rest? I have completely adjusted it. Fight still. Go ahead, but you can't stop. Damn it, why did he regain his spirit so quickly? Akainu felt incredible, and his face became severe. Others were surprised that Whitebeard had recovered so quickly, and they were frightened, because the situation they finally created is likely to change the situation. What to do? Whitebeard is back to peak condition again, do we still have a chance now? Kaido asked. At this time, Akainu had made a complete decision. He took out the phone worm and quietly issued a certain order, and then Akainu said to everyone. Everyone, as long as everyone can do their best to suppress Whitebeard, then I have the ability to do one thing. Will. Whitebeard completely wiped out Zero. Hearing Akainu's words, everyone immediately cheered up, and Kaido immediately asked. What kind of ability is it? What exactly is your Marine's whole card, and will it be dangerous to us? A weapon that can kill Whitebeard. Kaido will never doubt the power of this weapon, so he also has to consider this point. Will Marine destroy Whitebeard at the same time, also destroy him and the ant? Advertisement. Don't worry, after suppressing Whitebeard, it will be fine for everyone to evacuate in time. Akainu said. In other words, as long as you suppress Whitebeard in place, you can't move, right? But to do this, it takes a lot of power. The ant asked. Everyone has seen the shocking power that Whitebeard exploded just now. It is a power that destroys everything. If you want to suppress this terrifying power, everyone can't imagine it. The success or failure is here. Everyone, I hope everyone can do their best. Akainu said here, and his words also succeeded in inspiring Kaido and others. Well, just trust you Marine. Kaido said immediately. As a result, Akainu and others continued to launch a siege on Whitebeard when they were in a bad state, but all of them attacked from a long distance, because at this time no one dared to approach Whitebeard. At the same time, the battleships on the coast also began to cooperate with the 5.1 attack. All of their various elemental weapons were used in a swarm. Countless shock waves and light gathered together, across the sky, and then fell to the Whitebeard area. Akainu and others are full of firepower, using their own tricks and skills uninterruptedly, constantly hitting Whitebeard, and countless forces superimposed on them to erupt a more powerful impact and shock. For a time, the entire earth cracked open, seawater continuously poured in from the sunken ground, flames and steam continued to spread out, and the rumblings of explosions continued one after another. And Whitebeard is constantly using the power of shaking to fight, and during this period the hockey domain is always open. Any fluctuations or shocks that enter his range will quickly be annihilated. Chapter 473. The Unsolvable Whitebeard. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. On the battlefield, the entire field of vision was filled with magma and flames, and the vapor formed by evaporation also enveloped the entire area. No one knew what the final result would be, but everyone was desperately issuing their own tricks. However, only one thing is clear to those present, and that is that today's battle is destined to be recorded in the annals of history. Everywhere is full of shocks and shocks from various tricks, and the air has become extremely hot, as if yes. Magma is like hell. If someone approaches here, it will either be melted by the high temperature or torn apart by a violent impact. However, this battle that everyone holds in the belief of victory is destined to continue. No one of Akainu and others retreat, even if Whitebeards. The power of shaking can resist any trick, but they have been continuously outputting. Because the smoke and dust formed by the battle has reached a height of several thousand meters, the entire battlefield area is already in a mess and chaos, except for a lot of roars, and even the picture is not clear. The warship personnel who were launching could not even lock on Whitebeard's target at this time, because the O1 side of their painting was already covered with smoke and could not see anything, but even so, they continued to fire their weapons. The warship's attack also did not stop. They continued to attack from the locked position. The battle was fierce. The whole piece of land on the battlefield was directly shattered and gradually moved towards the coast as time passed. The offensive lasted for an unknown amount of time. When everyone slowed down, they saw that there was already a piece of blue water around them. Then everyone noticed that they had drifted to the cracked land, the center of the sea. And they have been drifting for a long time, because they can no longer see the direction of the coast, but this just surprised everyone. Their attack still did not stop, and they continued to bombard Whitebeard. Advertisement. Violent shocks spread from time to time, and when they spread to the sea, they often caused huge waves, and even often spread to the sea to produce strong explosions, causing numerous deaths and injuries among sea creatures. After attacking for so long, it should be almost done. Akainu thought to himself. He decided to use the last resort. However, since they have already floated to the center of the sea, Akainu needs to contact the main battleship first. Hey, you are going to prepare the seastone net, and the death rose at the same time, ready to make the final blow to Whitebeard. Akainu ordered. Yes. The personnel on the main battleship immediately agreed. Although they did not follow, they also determined the approximate location of Akainu. They set off immediately after receiving the order. Soon, the main battleship was gradually driving over from the sea, and the personnel on the battleship also saw the huge piece of land floating on the sea. That's it. Lock Whitebeard's position right away. After the battleship locked Whitebeard, it sent out the seastone net, which is a huge net made by seastone, and its area can even completely cover the ant. At this time, Akainu and others continued to attack Whitebeard. Their attacks never stopped or were interrupted. Under Akainu's command, their attack on Whitebeard has been continuous. At this time, Akainu noticed that the seastone net was covering from the sky, and Akainu's heart touched his throat. His eyes were fixed on Whitebeard. If Whitebeard did not avoid the blow, then the victory or defeat would be will be decided. Advertisement. That's it. Kaido also noticed the giant net under Whitebeard. This net looked a bit special, rather rigid and stiff, so Kaido could think of it as a seastone at once, otherwise it would not be possible to catch Whitebeard. The marine government is really good at making seastone into a net. Compared to Wanokuni's craftsmen, it's not bad. Kaido said in his heart that Wanokuni's craftsmen can process seastone into nails, and they are almost the top craftsmen. NS. At this time everyone noticed the seastone net, and they also attacked desperately, trying to use this movement to influence Whitebeard's judgment, so that Whitebeard could not detect the seastone net. Finally, Whitebeard did not find the seastone net. The seastone net successfully trapped Whitebeard in it, and Whitebeard's shock power was instantly weakened. Suppress Whitebeard with seastone immediately. Akainu shouted. Everyone began to use force to impact the seastone, because the original seastone net area was too large, so after covering Whitebeard in it, they did not completely contact Whitebeard, so it only weakened the shock power of Whitebeard and did not allow him to use it. Not capable. However, under the efforts of everyone, the seastone net shrank a lot and touched Whitebeard's body. Whitebeard could not use the shock power. Ha 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 ha. Great, it succeeded, and Whitebeard was successfully captured. Akainu shouted excitedly. Whitebeard. Aokiji was a little ashamed. He didn't know if something happened to Whitebeard, and he was a little worried. Advertisement. Is it really successful? Is this seastone net your marine's whole card? Kaido asked in disbelief, grabbing Whitebeard. This dreamlike thing actually happened, so that he was a little sluggish. No, it's not over yet. 070. With Whitebeard's ability, even if he can't use the shock power, he still can't underestimate him. He must be eliminated here. You can take this opportunity to retreat. Akainu said. After that, Akainu, Fujitora, Green Bull, Kizaru and others left one after another, jumping continuously in the air, while Kaido and others were a little surprised, but they could only leave with them. Kaido turned into a dragon, the ant sat on her own flying cloud, and Jack and others were all on Kaido's body. For a while, only Whitebeard and Aokiji were left here. Hehe, I didn't expect them to play this hand. Whitebeard wanted to use the hockey impact to remove the seastone net, but it didn't have much effect, and his power trapped in it was limited. Father, why are you really trapped? You shouldn't be like this. Aokiji asked worriedly. As a fruit power person, he couldn't help Whitebeard either. Hey, to the effect, I wanted to see what their whole cards are, but I didn't expect it to be seastone, and the concentration on it was very high. Whitebeard said helplessly. But don't worry, Aokiji, you go with them, don't let them doubt you. Whitebeard said again. Huh, what do you do? Aokiji asked. Chapter 474. Method for Whitebeard. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I can't be troubled by this problem. Having said that, Whitebeard suddenly burst out of the Emperor's color hockey, which immediately shattered the surrounding seastone, and bounced away from Whitebeard's range. Aokiji was stunned when he saw it. He did not expect that Whitebeard would be able to burst out such a strong hockey while being suppressed by seastone. It stands to reason that seastone would limit the physical strength of those with fruit ability and control those with fruit ability to be unable to use it. Fruit. Actual ability and hockey's status. But in this state, with this concentration of seastone, Whitebeard's power hockey could still burst out, which gave Aokiji a lot of shock. Isn't even seastone able to suppress Dad's power? It's terrible, Aokiji exclaimed. Moreover, this seastone, which can be called an extremely hard substance, was partially shattered under the shock of hockey, which completely subverted Aokiji's cognition. What are you doing here? Don't you want to deal with Akainu? I will leave him to you. Whitebeard saw Aokiji standing still and couldn't help but say. But without seeing the corpse, this is not the end for Akainu. He let those warships launch bombs to disperse smoke, and must observe the existence of Whitebeard. Originally, these microorganisms were extremely difficult to kill, and they could survive for a long time even at high temperatures. However, under the impact of Whitebeard's shock force, the small and strong shock directly impacted those microorganisms into nothingness. Advertisement. Fortunately, Whitebeard cleaned up in time. He used a high-strength shaking force to completely clean up the surrounding space. Of course, this also killed the creatures in the nearby sea innocently. As Whitebeard really killed, Kaido and the ant looked at the sea in the distance in surprise. They were very suspicious, because they actually didn't know what marine used to deal with or kill Whitebeard. This method can really. Aokiji noticed the bomb on the way away. He was a little strange that such a small power could not cause damage to Whitebeard at all. What did Marine think? Not only that, when Whitebeard expands the hockey domain, the power of evacuation at the same time is to be able to filter out those microorganisms while breathing. Gum ha ha ha, they thought their plan was successful. I like to make these self-righteous people think that their performance is perfect, so that they are immersed in joy, and finally they are ruining their dreams severely. Whitebeard laughed. Stand up. However, Whitebeard was naturally aware of this vision, and he was a little surprised. Marine would develop such a weapon, but it was not that simple to kill me. Great. It's impossible for Whitebeard to survive this time. Green Bull said affirmatively, looking at the direction of the sea. Once these microbes enter the human body, they will begin to destroy them and cause death soon. At this time, Akainu was also particularly excited. He felt that his ability to solve such a troublesome existence of Whitebeard during his reign would leave a strong mark in Marine's history. However, it is still far from the time to celebrate. Is it sure enough to destroy Whitebeard? After Akainu retreated from the sea to the shore, he immediately issued an order. Death Rose, launch. Advertisement. Soon Aokiji also came to the coast. When he saw Akainu, he found that Akainu was showing excitement and expectation. This made Kaido and the ant very puzzled, because they knew exactly how difficult Whitebeard was to deal with, but now that Marine was so happy, it seemed to confirm that Whitebeard was undoubtedly eliminated. Moreover, the impact of the outbreak has greatly expanded the scope of this microbe, and it is inevitable that people will inhale these microbes if they are in it. This time, the shock power was not to destroy the outside world, but only spread out in Whitebeard's body. Whitebeard reduced the shock power to ultimate, using that kind of shock to kill all the microbes that entered his body. Daddy, since you can resist the suppression of Seastone, why didn't Gango explode, but let Akainu and others go away? Aokiji asked immediately. Finally, Whitebeard's confidant problem has been resolved, and Marine can take a breath. Kizaru also sighed. Whitebeard stood there motionless, his eyes closed tightly, and he concentrated his own mind to check his physical condition. At the same time, the shocking force began to work in his body. Aokiji quickly escaped from the sea. He was surprised and asked, "Did Marine just do anything? If it spreads, it may spread to a wider area, and it is difficult for Zhao's to be completely cleaned up." After doing all this, Whitebeard flew up in the air, and lifted into the air in an instant. The Marine battleship that had been observing was unaware, and they thought that Whitebeard would continue to be in the smoke. It turned out to be like this. Daddy, I'll leave first. After talking, Aokiji left here with a few jumps. Advertisement. It's impossible to get close to Whitebeard's direction to observe. It's a weapon. Don't worry, Whitebeard will definitely die. Akainu said lightly. Let me continue to observe and fire shells and flames at the same time. Whitebeard will not die immediately. It is not the time to relax. Akainu ordered. Report to the marshal. Whitebeard is no longer moving, but he cannot be confirmed in sight. A report came from the battleship. Akainu was also a little helpless when he heard that. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. At this time, the warship in the distance quickly pointed out a biological bomb in the direction of Whitebeard, and exploded above Whitebeard. These 7. It is full of microorganisms invisible to the naked eye. Marine has eliminated Whitebeard now. I'm afraid the next step is to deal with us. Kaido said to the ant, who also knew well, and the two began to calculate something quietly. What? Aokiji was a little surprised, but now he can only choose to believe in Whitebeard. The Marine government didn't even think about the consequences of doing this. Is it really at all costs to deal with me? Whitebeard feels a little sick of the Marine government's approach, because once the microorganisms are in the sea. At this moment, the biological weapons launched by Marine have been completely released around Whitebeard, and the entire space has been completely filled with microorganisms specially researched by Marine. These tiny microorganisms entered Whitebeard's body through respiration. Advertisement. Chapter 475. Beat Akainu. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At this time, Akainu was basically certain that Whitebeard was dead, because the biological weapons died very quickly after infection. Even if a person is strong, it is impossible to resist this attack from within the body. While the battleship was launching smoke bombs to disperse, Akainu began to look at Kaido and others, thinking about how to deal with these people. Although Marine has just cooperated with them, Kaido and Anti are 4 emperors who need to be attacked. However, considering that Marine also suffered heavy losses at this time, and just after a battle with Whitebeard, several admirals did not have much power. So Akainu didn't do it directly. He chose to temporarily slow down Kaido and others, and then find a chance to attack Kaido. At this time, it is impossible for Kaido to return to the power before the decisive battle with Whitebeard. Damn it! Everyone attacked me. Akainu gritted his teeth and ordered. Kizaru and other admiral immediately surrounded Whitebeard. Gosh, can't this kill Whitebeard? Is he human? Kizaru exclaimed. I'm sorry, the marshal, we didn't see Whitebeard after dispelling the smoke, and we also observed in the surrounding waters. He was not in the sea either. The battleship continued to report. Well, good, you can leave. Akainu said to Kaido, and he said to Marine who controlled Jack. Take him to Lucci, he can go back to business, celestial dragons is really troublesome. However, just after Jack had finished speaking, Kaido suddenly made a move and pushed Jack out with a palm. Jack's expression was full of doubts as he flew out. He had no idea what happened, let alone why Kaido did it. Advertisement. Kaido, Lin, this cooperation with you is very happy. Now that the cooperation and completion are completed, then you can leave. The Marine government will abide by the agreement and will not act against you at this time. Akainu said to Kaido and others. It's a pity, but I have to do this, and I said, I won't give up Jack, one day I will save him. Kaido said in a deep voice. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Report the Marshal, Whitebeard has disappeared. After Kaido left, news suddenly came from the battleship that they could not observe Whitebeard's trail. Just as Kaido, Auntie and the three plagues were about to leave, Akainu said again, Kaido, have you forgotten anything? I remember you had an agreement with Lucci before. What the hell is it? Jack asked with a puzzled look. Jack was taken away by Marine and disappeared from everyone's sight. Both Quinn and Jin's faces appeared shocked. They immediately questioned Kaido. Boss Kaido, why on earth, why are you giving up Jack? I heard that celestial dragons like to use the strong as a mount, and they like Jack for this reason. The ant said from the side. Biological weapons are the result of many experiments conducted by the Marine Scientific Corps. Its power and effect are beyond doubt, but Whitebeard is now clearly appearing in front of them. Me, do you think you have won? But it's a shame. I have to say that you really spent a lot of effort to deal with me, and you can use such a method. Advertisement. Guhahaha. Akainu, are you looking for an old man? Whitebeard appeared at an altitude of 1,000 meters, his majestic laughter full of majesty and momentum. Kaido shook his head and turned around solemnly. He looked at Jack and said, Jack, you have been with me for so long, and I have always regarded you as my confidant. Therefore, you must believe in me and I will save you. This immediately shocked Kaido's body. Of course he remembered this agreement, but he thought that so many things happened just now, and Akainu would not remember these things. He didn't expect that he would still bring it up. Is this the agreement between you and Lucci? Let them take Jack away, in exchange for us to be released. As Whitebeard spoke, his tone became more and more cold and solemn. The air was full of the smell of gunpowder smoke, and the two sides were already at war. Don't deal with them in time. Son now. Kaido's footsteps stopped, and he sighed helplessly. At this time, everyone around Kaido was wondering what the agreement was that made Kaido so entangled. Kaido is of course impossible to lose. After all, this is all Marine's sphere of influence, and their power is too strong, even Whitebeard is able to deal with it. If they refuse, it will inevitably lead to the opponent's face. What do you mean? What does it mean that Whitebeard disappeared? How did you observe it? Akainu was suddenly furious. Advertisement. Guy ABFB and others left soon. Although Quinn and Jin were dissatisfied with Jack, they couldn't resist. After all, they couldn't defy Kaido, and they couldn't be enemies with Marine. Boss, what is the agreement between you and Lucci? Did you agree to any conditions? Jack asked. Whitebeard, how is it possible, you are not already? Akainu raised his head in surprise, and there were bursts of dazzling sunlight in the sky in the direction of Whitebeard, making him unable to look directly. Kaido and the ant glanced at each other, obviously a little surprised, so Kaido immediately said, if this is the case, then there will be a period of time later. First hope Marine can go back and cultivate 070 this time. The implication is to let Marine the next paragraph. Jack was pushed into Marine's area. Under Akainu's order, Jack was immediately arrested and chained to the seastone chain. All this happened did not give Jack time to react, so he did not appear to resist. Could it be that it made you self-harm? The ant guessed. Kizaru and other Marine admiral were also nervous, and they were ready to fight immediately, but at this time everyone was full of doubts about how Whitebeard survived. How is it possible that he should not be able to escape from the infection? Let me continue to observe. Akainu's voice became a little nervous, and after he finished speaking, a more frightening voice came. Whitebeard, how is this possible? Akainu was extremely surprised. He couldn't believe that Whitebeard could survive the attack of biological weapons, but he had to believe the facts before him. Is there really such a terrifying person in the world? Even biological weapons can't kill him. It seems that the Marine government is doomed to fail. Fujitora also found it incredible, and he felt that no one in the world could defeat him. Baihu. Advertisement. Chapter 476. Luffy, let's invite to swim in the sea together. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Kizaru, Fujitora, Green Bull, and Akainu themselves all separated for a time to surround Whitebeard, and each used their own unique skills to attack Whitebeard. Akainu glanced at Aokiji, and when he saw that he hadn't moved, he immediately said, Aokiji, why don't you make a move? Akainu, you have completely violated Marine's justice like this, and I will not continue to tolerate you anymore. Aokiji suddenly said to him indifferently. What? You? Akainu was a little surprised. At this time, he also understood that Aokiji had not completely returned to Marine. HMPH, this time, let me be your opponent. Aokiji suddenly jumped into the air. Vice Admiral Akainu stopped him, blocking in front of him. Damn it. Although it was not surprising that Aokiji helped Whitebeard again, at this time Aokiji blocked him and prevented him from dealing with Whitebeard together, which made the situation worse. Whitebeard drank the last sentence, which shocked all Marine soldiers. They didn't hesitate after listening, and immediately chose to stop the war. Beard said to them with a smile. Advertisement. After Luffy left, Crocodile immediately replied, I am willing to follow you. So it's you. Why are you here? Whitebeard came over them and asked. Hearing this, Luffy said carelessly, well, since you are all right, I should also sail with my friends on our own, then Grandpa Whitebeard, we will see you again. However, Akainu was obviously left by Whitebeard for Aokiji. Whitebeard glanced at Akainu lightly and said to Aokiji, this guy will leave it to you. It is my promise to you, but don't miss it. We wanted to see if we could help you, but it seemed like a wasted effort. Crocodile smiled awkwardly. After that, Whitebeard flew in the direction of the battleship. When Whitebeard approached from the sky, the personnel of those battleships chose to fire their guns, and almost all the weapons and equipment were used. It was a desperate fire. Whitebeard, you are amazing. Luffy shouted. The Marine battleship tried to suppress Whitebeard with powerful firepower, but Whitebeard moved forward unharmed, passing through various explosions and gun smoke. He glanced contemptuously at these battleships, and then raised his hands. But having said that, Crocodile originally had the willingness to follow Whitebeard, but now it's just going the boat. After Crocodile agreed, Whitebeard said with a smile, okay, well, but let's solve the current problem first. When is he? Kizaru was full of shock. Whitebeard's speed was faster than his light speed kick. At least he turned into a light state to give people some time to react, but Whitebeard couldn't prevent it. The true king of the sea, Whitebeard. Crocodile exclaimed. Advertisement. As long as you can stop fighting, I can let you go, and I won't embarrass you. It's okay if you are willing to continue to be Marines in the future, but now, everything is up to me. 0.0. Guhahaha. Come to help me. Interesting, but it's okay now. Luffy, you should continue your voyage. As for Crocodile, are you willing to be my son? Take a swim in this sea with me. Whitebeard put all the battleships down. At this time, Luffy and Crocodile both ran out of one of the battleships. They cheered to Whitebeard. The soul is shaking. Whitebeard snorted coldly, and used the fusion skill of the power of the shock and the power of the ant's soul. This mental shock was also covered with the Emperor's color haki, which expanded the power a lot. Almost no one can refuse Whitebeard's invitation face to face, because Whitebeard's charm is so great that he seems to lose the ability to think in the face, and will instinctively agree to his invitation. While talking, Whitebeard's figure suddenly appeared in front of the Green Bull. No one could see how he moved. His figure was like a ghost. The powerful shaking force was released, and then all the battleships began to shake. The personnel on the battleship felt that the battleship seemed to be a little overweight, and then they saw from the screen that their main ship was floating. Zero look for flowers. Whitebeard used the shocking power to wrap his voice and pass it out to everyone, saying, you Marines, do you know that you have sinned so badly that you have tainted the word justice, but considering that you are only acting on orders, I will not pursue you. Dozens of battleships were all lifted by Whitebeard to an altitude of 1 kilometer with the shocking force. At this time, all the battleships stopped attacking Whitebeard, because as long as Whitebeard let go, they would all fall into the destruction of the ship. Advertisement. Also includes Akainu. This guy, did he still hide his strength before? Akainu now looks at Whitebeard and only feels the word horror. Yes, this kind of combat power is really amazing. If Whitebeard is willing, he can kill all the players in the field at the same time with a single blow. Marine Admiral. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Lei Gen. A punch that surrounded the power of thunder and tremor burst out, and a burst of strong power broke out. Knocked out. Now it's useless to say that these are only a few of us to deal with Whitebeard, but we must pay attention to it, not careless. Green Bull said. Hey, I knew that Aokiji would not quit the Whitebeard pirates so honestly, fortunately he played for a long time just now. Kizaru said. Almost for an instant, Kizaru and Fujitora lost consciousness under this mental shock, and the two fell into a coma in an instant. The three Marine Admiral were defeated by Whitebeard in the blink of an eye. The Green Bull fell from midair like a meteor, and was deeply buried in the earth. The powerful shock and lightning directly injured the internal organs of the Green Bull, blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth, and his consciousness began to grow. Vague, completely lost the ability to act. It killed the Green Bull with one blow. Akainu, who was confronting Aokiji, was full of horror. Only then did he really see the terrifying power of Whitebeard. At the moment, your three Marine Admiral have been defeated, and your Marine Marshal is just a battle between trapped beasts, so I hope you all stop. The sea began to surging violently, and then the battleships gradually left the contact of the sea, floated into the air, and then got higher and higher. Advertisement. Chapter 477. 5 Elders Counseled. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Whitebeard asked Crocodile to control the Marines' battleships and the personnel on them. Of course, this power Whitebeard had to hold in his own hands. Akainu and Aokiji were defeated after dozens of rounds of battle. This is not to say that Akainu is weaker than Aokiji, but in such a situation, Akainu has no intention to fight Aokiji, because even if he defeats Aokiji, it is useless. Whitebeard this most. The big hazard Marine has been unable to solve. Therefore, under such worries, it is normal for Akainu to lose to Aokiji, and the battle between Marine and the Whitebeard pirates has completely come to an end. Marshal Marine is defeated, and Marine on the battlefield naturally falls without a fight. Refused to surrender. They were all controlled by the Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard returned to the Flower City with his pirate group. The help of Dao 070 greeted him with the utmost courtesy. At the same time, the people of Samurai River in Wano-kuni were full of admiration for Whitebeard. Especially the samurai. They saw Odin's shadow from Whitebeard, and his strength and prestige far surpassed Odin. Whitebeard's prestige in Wano-kuni reached its peak. Suddenly one of the people's fishing rods moved, and Sengoku quickly retracted the fishing rod, but the hook was empty and there was nothing. Has attracted the attention of many people. Advertisement. In order not to make his own power appear too weak, Kong later found Garp and Sengoku, who were leisurely fishing near a marine branch. And take back the marine forces controlled by Whitebeard. By the sea, Sengoku and Garp each held their own fishing rods and waited quietly for the fish to be hooked. The breeze blew their faces. Both of them enjoyed this time especially. Hey, 5.1 can only be so. If Whitebeard is angered, I am afraid that the world government will have serious turmoil. Another old man said helplessly. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Holy Land Mariajoy. NS. This is no wonder. At first, Akainu took away most of the power in order to deal with Whitebeard. There are not many generals in the marine government. Now, these people are still controlled by Whitebeard. It's okay. It's natural to be prepared, and I believe that Whitebeard is also sincere to negotiate with us. Lord Yim said. For a while, many people hope that Whitebeard can become the founding general of Wano-kuni. Only the 9 heroes of the Red Sheath still unswervingly support Momonosuke, but the strength of the Momonosuke faction can no longer be compared with the strength of supporting Whitebeard. Are you going to see Whitebeard in person? Would it be too dangerous? 5 elders were a little surprised. Advertisement. 5 elders had no objection to Lord Yim's words, and Lord Yim continued, contact Whitebeard and I will negotiate with him personally. People all over the world are discussing that Marine has been completely unable to rectify this sea, and Whitebeard's maritime status has reached the highest level in the past and the present. In the end, Momonosuke carried out the founding ceremony of Wano-kuni and became the actual ruler of Wano-kuni, while Whitebeard became the spiritual symbol of Wano-kuni, named Emperor Whitebeard. Even if the amount does not deal with Whitebeard, it may not be enough to deal with other pirates. So, 5 elders immediately went down to prepare. Their efficiency was very fast. They immediately contacted Whitebeard through a phone worm and agreed on a time for negotiation. So many personnel and weapons were dispatched, but the final result was still the same. Almost all the assets were given to Whitebeard, and Whitebeard's power at this time was no longer comparable. Whitebeard has undoubtedly become the most powerful pirate of this era, but the Marine government is also slightly deserted at this time when the outside world is shaking up and down. When Wano Kuni was carrying out the founding ceremony, the outside world was already in shock. Rumors that the main Marines were almost wiped out in Waterloo in Wano Kuni were raging for a while. There are many large and small pirate groups who even united from an affiliate called Whitebeard without Whitebeard's knowledge. Since the news of Whitebeard's outrageous defeat of Marine's main force was too shocking, some other things happened during this period. But judging from the battle reports from the front lines, even if Whitebeard did not get these weapons and equipment, his own power alone was enough to make anyone feel tricky. It seems that there is no way to solve Whitebeard right now. I think some people in the world government must be afraid of Whitebeard. Kong shook his head and said, no matter how angry he is, it is useless. The Marine government is almost collapsed. Down force. Advertisement. Hey, this Whitebeard, we actually want us to meet him personally. Putting down the phone bug, the kimono old man said depressed. Although Whitebeard agreed to negotiate with them, he asked the world government to send a luxurious lineup to welcome him. That is, Red Hair, one of the four emperors, suddenly announced his withdrawal from his four emperors status, and disbanded Red Hair's affiliated pirate group, leaving only his original pirate group. Master Yim, Whitebeard is so powerful, it has seriously endangered the world government, and now I am afraid that no one else can fight Whitebeard. Master Yim, should we use the final weapon? One of the five elders asked. Land. Kong wanted to talk to five elders and had no chance, because at this time five elders also went to meet Lord Yim because of this endangered situation. Now the Marine government really does not have a single person. Kong lost his temper in the Marine government. He did not expect that the war that Akainu thought he was absolutely sure of would be fought like this. In the main hall in the Holy Land Mariajoy, the five elders all knelt on the ground to pay homage to Lord Yim who was on the stairs. They told Lord Yim about the fiasco of the Marine government's attack on Whitebeard. However, although people support Whitebeard, it is obviously impossible for Whitebeard to become the ruler of Wano Kuni, and his Sea of Stars cannot be restricted to this place. After that, five elders met with Kong and proposed that Kong personally take the elite of the world government to meet Whitebeard. Lord Yim sat on the luxurious throne for a while and then said, with Whitebeard's strength, we can no longer be enemies with it, we can only make friends with it. The general of the world government, Kong, came to the Marine government with a blue face, but now there is not even a high-level person who can receive him. Sengoku and Garp even went fishing at this time. Vice Admiral went to Impel Down to inspect criminals not long ago. Advertisement. Chapter 478. The Great Whitebeard arrives at the Holy Land. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Ha 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 ha. Garp burst into laughter when he saw that Sengoku was empty. Sengoku was lost and then counterattacked. What are you laughing at, didn't you catch it? Garp was about to say something when a voice suddenly appeared behind them. Two people, it's a pleasure to be here. Sengoku and Garp turned around at the same time and found that it was Kong. Sengoku immediately said with a grin, oh, what brought you here? Could it be that you are also retired? Let's go fishing with us. It's lively alone. Kong suddenly snorted and said, what are you kidding me? How could I retire at this time? Don't you know what kind of threats the Marine government is facing? It is the first time that the Marine government has encountered such a big failure, and it has been do not. It's just a threat to the Marine government. This is a threat to the world government. Both Sengoku and Garp were silent for a while. They had been Marines all their lives. Now that they saw the failure of the Marine government like this, they naturally regretted it, but what could be done? Sengoku immediately waved his hand and said, Kong, I'm already retired, and tell me what I'm doing. Now I want to make my daily life easier. Where's Garp? Are you retired too? Kong asked in a deep voice. The old man didn't want to participate in all kinds of events after the Top War. He just wanted to do some simple things. Now, it's almost time to retire. Garp said. Have you all forgotten the glory of Marine? Kong shouted in hatred for iron and steel. That's past. Garp shook his head. Advertisement. Kong was a little helpless. He didn't expect the two of them to have changed so much, and seemed to completely ignore Marine's affairs. Since you are going to retire, let this ending be perfect, and let the curtain call after the last thing with me. Kong said. What's up? The world government has decided to negotiate with Whitebeard. We need to welcome Whitebeard to the Holy Land Mariajoy, and at the same time take back the Marine who was detained by Whitebeard. This task cannot be overstated, Kong said. Haha, the Marine government has no decent people now, right? We need to find us. Garp said. Go or not, give me a word. Kong shouted impatiently. Sengoku and Garp glanced at each other, and they immediately agreed, because the negotiations between the world government and the pirates may have a serious impact on the future pattern. This is definitely an epic moment. Give their Marines in this way. Career. The ending is also very good. Well, I'll go with you. Wano-kuni. In the national celebration, after Whitebeard defeated Marine, they used Marine's warships to control all areas of Wano-kuni. Kaido and Auntie had nothing to hide, and they heard that Whitebeard was still alive and had been completely lost. With fighting spirit, he immediately took the initiative to surrender to Whitebeard in fear. In the main hall, Whitebeard is sitting on the top, and his henchmen, captains, Kaido, Ant and Quinn are standing on both sides of the hall. Wait and tell. Advertisement. To Whitebeard. After listening, Whitebeard was also a bit complicated. Although the two men repeatedly betrayed themselves, it was a pity to kill them. After all, they had such a great strength and they were once on the same boat. You two are really damn it, but for the sake of your initiative to surrender, I will not kill you, but don't think about any good belonging. I will punish you severely. Whitebeard said lightly. Yes, no matter what kind of punishment we accept. Kaido said immediately. Very well, I plan to let you do a lifetime of coolies, take the sea stone to work, and use your strength to make some contributions to Wano-kuni. Come, bring them down. Whitebeard said. After disposing of Kaido and others, Whitebeard re-planned Wano-kuni. After all, Momonosuke was just a kid and had no experience in ruling the country. Under Whitebeard's governance, Wano-kuni quickly regained its vitality, wealth was no longer monopolized by the family, and people's livelihood was greatly improved. At this time, Whitebeard has completely become the spiritual symbol of Wano-kuni. Not only Whitebeard, but also the Whitebeard pirates have a lofty status in Wano-kuni. On this day, at the time agreed with 5 elders, Whitebeard also wanted to say goodbye to Wano-kuni. Kong brought Garp and Sengoku into Wano-kuni at the same time as a large fleet, but this scale was far from when Akainu came. After Kong and others came to Wano-kuni, they walked all the way to the flower capital to meet Whitebeard. Along the way, they heard the people's admiration and gratitude for Whitebeard, which made them feel moved, thinking that a pirate could have such a prestige. People on the street were all surprised when they saw the World Government Army. They were even more surprised when they learned that the World Government Army was here to greet Whitebeard, because it represented the world government's recognition of Whitebeard. The world government recognized a pirate and greeted it with such noble etiquette. This is a big joke, but it really happened. Advertisement. The entire flower capital was blocked by the arrival of Kong and others. 070 When people saw the representatives sent by the world government bend over to greet Whitebeard, they all boiled. Whitebeard, please come with us, we will escort you back to the Holy Land Mariajoy throughout. Kong said respectfully to Whitebeard. Yeah, great. Whitebeard nodded. Whitebeard, we met again, I didn't expect it in this way. Garp said to Whitebeard. Ha ha ha, I know that the world government will always compromise one day. Whitebeard said with a smile. Whitebeard, please return our personnel to us. Sengoku said. Don't worry about this, my pirate group will follow them with them, and will return it to you at that time, but the marine battleships will be left to me. Whitebeard said. It doesn't matter, just do what you said. Kong said immediately. In this way, Whitebeard left Wano-kuni under the escort of Kong and others, and the pirate group under Whitebeard immediately escorted all the marines to leave Wano-kuni. Grandpa Whitebeard, I hope we can see you soon. Momonosuke, Ayu and others waved goodbye to Whitebeard. After a period of sailing, Whitebeard and others finally came to the holy place Mariajoy. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Advertisement Chapter 479. Lord Yim. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The Holy Land Mariajoy is the center of the world government and the residence of the noble celestial dragons. It is said to have the most beautiful scenery, the most luxurious buildings and the purest air in the world. However, when Whitebeard came here with the support of world government personnel, his first feeling was not that. He didn't think it was so beautiful, but felt that it seemed like a hell. Because just outside the building of the World Government Conference Hall, a celestial dragon is bullying a princess from a certain alliance country. Dare to make a move, which makes Whitebeard furious. After getting off the carriage, Whitebeard flew out directly, and immediately arrived at the location of the incident, and immediately grabbed the arm of the celestial dragons, who was about to slap the princess in the face. Who are you? You dare to stop me? Do you know who I am? Celestial Dragons said after being blocked very arrogantly, but this can only increase Whitebeard's anger. Can you tell me what happened just now? Whitebeard ignored the Celestial Dragons, but looked at the princess. My name is Hime. I wanted to stay here for a while after World Summit, because the environment here is so good, but today I met him when I was walking here, and he said that I blocked his mount. The road that caused him trouble, so I came down to teach me. The princess said. Advertisement. There were also some members of the World Summit around, and they nodded one after another. You guy, dare to intervene in my affairs, do you know this is the world government? The celestial dragons continued to be grasped by Whitebeard's arm, but he didn't mean to be afraid. Okay, thank you. Hime cautiously stepped forward, and then raised his hand to slap. Celestial dragons still wanted to resist, but the body was instantly restrained by a force and couldn't move. Will this matter affect our next negotiation? Whitebeard asked rhetorically. Lu Qi, didn't you hear me? Kill him. Celestial dragons continued to shout, but no one paid any attention to him. On the one hand, Whitebeard is worried that celestial dragons will die directly. Of course, he can't die so easily. On the other hand, it is to prevent his bloodline from contaminating other people. I heard that you killed a celestial dragons as soon as you came here. Lord Yim asked. Mountain. Whitebeard glanced aside, and suddenly saw Jack, who had become a mount, and he had various weed marks on his body. After that, Whitebeard used Thunder Shock to blow the body of celestial dragons into powder and dissipated in the air. Everyone was amazed by Whitebeard's methods, and after Whitebeard had done all this, Kong and others rushed over. This princess, how did he hit you just now? Just hit it back. Whitebeard said to Kazumi. Lu Qi, kill him for me. Celestial dragons shouted in pain. Advertisement. Yes, that's it. Lord Yim nodded. If such people can have power and status, then it will be a disaster for the government. Of course I will kill. Whitebeard replied lightly. Master Yim nodded, and she continued. You are right, but it is the bloodline that determines that they can be born with this status. However, Celestial Dragon's direct subordinate Lu Qi did not dare to shoot at all, because he knew that it was Whitebeard. Everyone present knew that it was Whitebeard. Only this Celestial Dragons was stupid. Thank you for reading this story at mtlnation.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The internal organs are in a mess, and they die directly. We will send him to Impel Down Prison. Whitebeard, please come with me. Bloodline of Zhao's. Since I saw it, then I must take care of it. By the way, since the owner is dead, then the mount should be cancelled. Whitebeard said. When Whitebeard left, the people present continued to reminisce about the demeanor that Whitebeard had just shown. Oh, that's the case. Whitebeard also nodded, but he knew that without asking, it was definitely Celestial Dragons that was fine. Unexpectedly, one of the dignified three plagues is actually used as a mount here. Even if it is an enemy, I can't accept it. Whitebeard said lightly. Advertisement. Haha, are you deflated? If you deflate, I will execute him next. The next moment, Whitebeard's tone became cold, and then a powerful force pressed Celestial Dragons directly, unable to breathe, and then the bones of the body. Muscle changes. Kong took Whitebeard to meet 5 elders first, and then 5 elders personally led him to see Lord Yim. Whitebeard met the mysterious Lord Yim in the hall. She was a female and very beautiful. So, you can't accept them either, but you can't interfere with them. Whitebeard asked. Hearing that, Whitebeard's eyes became cold in an instant, and with a little force on his hands, Celestial Dragon's arms were twisted off by Whitebeard, and they were shocked into a child's powder in an instant. Celestial Dragons are not all villains, some of them are just spoiled, arrogant and domineering. They haven't done too much evil. Lord Yim said. Yes, the so-called Celestial Dragons are the descendants of the original leaders when the world government united. Because of the contract, I can't deal with them, otherwise it would violate the agreement of the ancestors. Master Yim explained. Whitebeard, You actually killed a celestial dragons. Hey, forget it, kill it. Kong was a little surprised and then said helplessly, because they can't pursue Whitebeard for anything now, and this is also a good thing. Of course not, it's just to warm up, just talk about some topics. Lord Yim shook his head and said, quote. You go down first. Lord Yim said to 5 elders, only she and Whitebeard were left in the hall. In that case, you have to thank me. If you ask me, I can help you and solve other celestial dragons. Whitebeard said. He may smoothly left several slap marks on celestial dragon's face. She happily said. I didn't expect that I can still fight celestial dragons. Whitebeard, you are a legend. Well, I just said it casually. If I don't want to, let's start our negotiation. Whitebeard shrugged and said. Chapter 480. King of the World. Previous chapter. Advertisement. Whitebeard, your power is unparalleled in the world, and it has surpassed this era too much, but obviously, this is not in line with the power you showed during the war on the top, and you were dead in the war on the top. I think, on your body should be. Something happened. After speaking, Master Yi showed a strange smile to Whitebeard. At this moment, Whitebeard even thought that this woman knew the secret of her system, but this was obviously impossible. You are right, but I have experienced some extraordinary things, but there is no need to elaborate here. Whitebeard said. Well, what I want to explain is your particularity. Because of your speciality and your strength, I will see you here today. Master Yim explained, and there was an expectation in his tone. What do you mean? Whitebeard was puzzled. I have been given 2 guidance. Lord Yim said. 2 guidelines. Yes, the first is about the secrets of the D family, and the second is the birth of a special person. Advertisement. Can you tell me in detail? Whitebeard manages the pirates on the sea. Of course, if there is any injustice on the land, Whitebeard will come forward at any time after encountering it, but they will not make it public. One is the king of the world, and the other is the master behind the world government. Under their joint rule, the world has become more and more stable and peaceful, and Whitebeard has also reached the final destination, which is an ideal country. That's right, you are right. Lord Yim nodded. After all, if there is a happy home, don't all teenagers want to stay in a warm home? After Master Yim finished saying this, Whitebeard was also amazed. He didn't expect things to be so unbelievable, but his statement about himself was reasonable, which made Whitebeard very satisfied. All the historical texts and road signs have been collected by Whitebeard. He and his pirates drove happily on the sea. Whitebeard didn't know where the final destination was, but he never forgot to appreciate and enjoy the journey. Wind. In addition, the marine government can also be cancelled. In this era, there will never be a shortage of young people who want to go to sea. It is nothing to let them shout the slogan of pirates. I will be responsible for managing all the pirate forces on the sea. And because of Whitebeard's prestige, he was also made the king of the sea god by everyone, but there was still a name from the world government. They called Whitebeard the king of the world. That said, letting Marine do its best to deal with me is your last test, isn't it? If I were the man of choice, then I would not fail. Whitebeard said. When Whitebeard became the queen of the world, he drove out his nose boat. He took his pirate group and set off from the second half of the Grand Line to prepare for the final voyage. Advertisement. Yes, since you are ABFB, the chosen person, then it must be correct to change according to your wishes. What are you going to do next? If you want, you can sit on this throne. Lord Yim said. Since then, Lord Yim and Whitebeard have kept a secret contact. Since then, the marine government has all been cancelled, and the world government will no longer restrain ordinary pirates, unless they come to the land to do evil. Trust me. Whitebeard was a little surprised. But I want to talk about changes. I hope that the current world government can unite more countries with such alliances, and things like Doflamingo and King Liku can't happen again. The D clan was also the leader of the world government at the beginning of the alliance, but something happened. They were excluded from the contract and did not become the current celestial dragons. However, in Whitebeard's own words, as long as people's livelihood problems are solved with their heart, how can so many people desire to change their lives and want to take risks and become pirates? After Whitebeard returned to the land of Noah, it took several months to register almost all the pirates in the sea, and almost all the maritime forces were registered with Whitebeard. Whitebeard stood up, stretched his body, and then said, I understand, but I can't stay here, because compared to this magnificent place, the sea is more suitable for me. Never mind this. If I directly deprive you of your status, I am afraid it will cause a lot of turmoil. Whitebeard shook his head, and he didn't have much interest in this. It's impossible to sit in this dark place all day. Is it too non-existent? So, now do you want to use it to do something to help you change the world government or? Whitebeard asked. If you don't want to, you can also secretly convey your order to me, and I will complete it for you. Lord Yim said immediately. Advertisement. That is, it does not directly indicate to the public that Whitebeard and the world government are united. After some discussion, Whitebeard left the hall and led his pirate group back to the land of Noah. Have a chat. The guide for the D family is that their family of Vice Admiral will give birth to a person who will affect the world's 070 structure and have a profound impact. I once thought that person was Blackbeard, but he was killed by you. Outstanding characters appear. Whitebeard did not force everyone to join him, but he gradually implemented a normative management of the sea, and listed some principled regulations to guide the pirates' correct behavior. The guide for a special person is that that person will completely change the world government, and even change the world, and appear like a soldier from heaven. I am sure that this person is you. During Whitebeard's voyage, the world became more and more peaceful. In fact, there were fewer people going to sea, and the number of pirates and thieves also decreased. Lord Yim couldn't help sighing on his throne. What Whitebeard said is true. The marine government suppressed the pirates so much, but it had no effect. Now, the marine government has been lifted and the number of pirates has decreased a lot. Whitebeard is really extraordinary. Whitebeard said. Lord Yim also kept nodding her head. She all agreed with Whitebeard's ideas, so they set a basic policy, that is, the world government should better manage the people's livelihood issues on the land. After the world government killed the celestial dragons, there was no follow-up, and after Whitebeard left, celestial dragons were restricted from moving under the policy of Lord Yim. I choose, trust you. Lord Yim said firmly.